me.
I burp simultaneously. What is going on, everyone? Welcome in to the College Football After Dark show, right here on the Voice of College Football, introduced with burps and all. That's the type of night we're all having here. We have a lot to go over, gentlemen, but how are you all doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you doing, Ben?
Oh, I'm fantastic.
I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good. All things considered.
Well, a win is a win, right? No matter what, at least. So you gotta take it.
100%.
We'll start off with our kind of a impromptu, as we've been doing lately. Please, gentlemen, go ahead one by one. Jordan, Spaz, Deshaun, and onward. Please tell everyone, promote yourselves, and where everyone can find you.
Yeah, you guys know the drill. I mean, you guys have been here long enough. Obviously, I'm Jordan from the Clemson Voice of College Football channel. I do a show on Thursday, the All In Show, with me and Tiger Paul Craven, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I also do the post-game shows. So be sure to check me out over there and give that channel a sub. Getting closer to 5,000 over there, so it would be greatly appreciated. And, of course, you can also find me on Twitter at Jobo0209, right next to my name.
And you know the drill. I'm Spaz, and I'm co-host of the Oregon Live channel on Tuesday nights, and the post-game shows normally on Saturdays, but last week and this coming week on Friday, after the Pac-12 championship with Ben and the other guys, if they so choose to show up. And that's pretty much it. Also, my links are over there in the chat, Rocky Classic on Twitter and Facebook.
Where can people creep you, Sean?
You can find me on many of the various shows here on the Voice of College Football. I join this most weeks. I join the Big Ten Live panel every Monday, and that's mostly where you can find me. You can also, if you're hanging around Grand Rapids, Michigan, anywhere downtown, fair shot you'll run into me at some point. So, see me, say hi.
At some local bar.
Yeah. I would hit up the Hopcat or a Pyramid Scheme or something like that. If you're around there, very good chance.
Hey, Kings of the North, where can people find you?
Hey man, look, you can find us up in it, celebrating this championship that we about to go on. It's the purest championship run of all time. Yeah, man, I'm just here for the ride, man. I'm excited, so I'm gonna let this show get on the road.
Brings us to Jackson. He's got a list of places.
Well, I'm Jackson Johnson, co-hosting the Voice College Football After Dark. And, you see me sometimes on the Ocho, but you can also see me on my channel at Jackson Johnson 979, where I have my show, The Jacksonian. And by the way, I have an upcoming release planned for Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, where I have the host of Illini Cast, Sonny Verna, as we talk about our reaction to Illinois Northwestern, the 2023 Illinois season, and we talk plenty about what needs to be done in the off season. And also, you can find the Jacksonian episode 17 from earlier this Tuesday night, as I talked with John D'Animo about our take as to whether Sharon Moore would be the next Ryan Day. We talk about how Michigan had an unlikely ally in one of the best comedians of our time in Bill Burr. And we talk a little bit about what we think about Black Friday shopping amongst the other topics. And it was a fun episode, so stick around. There's plenty more to come.
There's a lot going on there. Everyone, please do check out everyone's channels here and follow us all as we do a lot of different college football stuff. And gentlemen, before we get into our news updates, I do want to, as well as the chat, please get involved. A moment of silence as the Pac-12 has had its final regular season game. All right, that's enough of that. All right.
Amen.
UCLA, you suck.
Dan, where can everybody find you? I'm wondering.
Trash.
We're playing Ben in the trash dump.
It's a sad day, I think, for anyone that follows it. I don't think anyone wanted to see the Pac-12 die, really.
No, of course not. And it's the end of an era. I mean, it's been around my entire life. And it was the Pac-10, early in my life, but it's not going to feel the same. College football is forever changed. Like, this is the first time really since the Big East, and this is honestly much bigger than when the Big East collapsed. This is a part of college football that's forever going to be different. It's more akin to when the Southwest Conference folded. Like, that had become a staple of college football, and you just always thought, all the teams you would think of, USC, Washington, Oregon, and even Oregon State, Washington State. They had such an identity. Stanford, Cal, and now they're all going to be in different. They're all going to be in different conferences, and it's pretty much it's never going to be the same again. And that's so. I guess we really do need to just take a moment. Well, we just did, but just take a moment and appreciate, how good we had it, and now college football is definitely going to be different. Moving forward.
We might have a moment of silence later in the show.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got a question for everybody on this panel. Do you consider the last season of the Pac-12 similar to the last season of the Southwest Conference in 1995?
I don't remember the last season of the Southwest Conference.
I was not alive.
Was that the SMU?
I was very, very young. But I do remember I was 5 years old at the time. That's about my first memory of watching college football. We were watching Texas play Rice or something like that. I thought that Longhorn on the helmet looked cool. And the next thing I knew, the Southwest was gone. But yeah, what happened in '95 in the SWC, Jackson?
It basically, we know that the Big East and the Southwest Conference, merged together, but there were like a few members that were left out, like Houston and SMU and Rice and TCU. Those four teams were basically the Oregon State, Washington State of that time, where they were left out.
And I think Arkansas was the only non-Texas team in that league, and they had jumped like a couple.
They jumped
before.
Yeah,
right?
they jumped in 1992.
Yeah, well, some similarities. The big guys. The conference was too stratified. There were too many. There were very, very, very big dogs financially and with resources, and then there were some teams lagging way behind. Asking SMU and Rice to compete with the likes of Texas and Texas A&M was always a bit of a stretch, just like maybe asking Washington State and Oregon State to compete with the likes of USC and Oregon is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Well, and with the collapse of the Pac-12, as we have seen, one of the biggest news stories coming out of it, and I think that there's many explanations why, but one of the bigger stories was immediately following the next morning, or even later that night, was Michigan State hiring Jonathan Smith from Oregon State, which I think some ways wasn't entirely a surprise. He fits the mold. He fits
Call
the
me
mold
here
that Michigan
first.
State wants. He's the little brother, kind of like Oregon thing. So Michigan State. Oregon State doesn't have a conference or a schedule right now, and Michigan State has money. So
They have 3 games next year at this point.
So far, yeah.
well, that's what I mean. There's nothing set in stone.
Yeah.
And the hardest part for some people to take that was the way he left. Because I told you guys, Spaz, especially you, I was listening to Beaver Twitter space for like 3 hours yesterday, and they were having just an absolute hissy fit. And understandably, it was the way he left. It's not that he left; it's the way he left as being a former quarterback, an alum, and just
No, you. It's just like we know that most likely Kalen DeBoer is going to go somewhere in one of these bigger schools in the next couple of weeks after the big Pac-12 title game Friday, just because of the way they were in their press conferences. Jonathan Smith was the same way all week. Oh, I have agents and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, Mario Jr. It's exactly what it was.
Now, I
And-
have
Well,
a question for
I-
everyone.
Okay.
Did Jonathan Smith, was Oregon State a little bit distracted on Friday night because of the Jonathan Smith Michigan State toss?
Yes, they were, because during the game on Twitter, I can't find it right now, but during the game on Twitter, 2 of the players came out, and one of them was a senior that had started all year, and because people were asking, well, why aren't you guys playing? And they said, well, basically, Coach Smith told us before the game in no uncertain terms he wasn't sure what he was going to do after the game tonight.
that was the biggest thing.
Well, why would
with
that keep
all
the seniors from playing? I'm just curious. Why would people not be playing because Jonathan Smith didn't know what he was going to do?
There's been a bunch of the biggest thing that I took away from listening like for several hours yesterday to Twitter space was the way that he did. And some of the players were in there, and the biggest thing I took away from it was like, look at, for instance, how Lanning, when A&M was open, they were like, are you going to take another job? And he was like, absolutely not, 0%. I'm staying right here, 100%. Jonathan Smith got asked, and he said, I have an agent for that, and kind of joked about it. And then he just kind of, and then there was rumors that, yeah, before the game, everyone was like, yeah, he's gone, so screw it, you know.
Yeah, well, and I want to say, like, it's an unfortunate situation because Oregon State is obviously in a really difficult bind, just with how the landscape of college football is changing, and obviously they don't have a home currently, and it seems like they won't find one, at least at the Power 5 or whatever the Power Conference, division will be. I'm not sure they'll be a part of that, and I think Jonathan Smith did what was best for his career. I mean, his stock is still high, and if you want to be a guy that's competing at the highest level of college football, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. And Michigan State, obviously, from resources, money, facilities, pretty much everything. Obviously, having a home in one of the premier conferences in college football. I mean, you just can't turn that down. And it was a good hire for Michigan State. I think they needed a hire that kind of cleansed the stench, or however you want to call it, from how Mel Tucker, departed. And so, I mean, but in Oregon State is, they've just kind of been caught in I understand why Beaver fans are upset. I would be upset in their situation too. But I also understand Jonathan Smith's, plight and what he has to do for his career, and what's best for him. And hitching yourself to Oregon State, and out of loyalty, and it's honorable. It would be honorable, but it's probably not the best thing, for his career. And it's just an unfortunate situation. I feel bad for the players. I feel bad for that fan base because they deserve a lot better.
Well, that's what we said.
Mark D'Antonio casts a huge shadow over that program still, and I sense a lot of Mark D'Antonio qualities from Jonathan Smith. They're, both pretty direct when you talk about them. They're not real flashy people.
100%.
Their teams play. Their teams, play hard, play to their in disciplined and to their potential. And so I mean, you see someone who very much resembles a person that had a lot of success there in the past, and very much does not resemble the last person they just fired. So State fans obviously have to be over the moon about this. I don't think you can ask for a better situation.
Yeah, I've been around Jonathan Smith since he was a player, quarterback in the late early 2000 when he was on Dennis Erickson's team at the time and led them to their first big bowl win in years as a quarterback. And he has always been nothing but a quality coach, a quality person. He's always looks out for his players. And this was just a business decision. I mean, if the situation was different, if we still had the Pac-12, if we weren't in all this conundrum about even knowing whether Oregon State's even going to have much of a program or even a schedule next year, I think the situation's a lot different. I don't think he leaves, not unless it's a much bigger jump,
Yeah.
But in this situation, like Jordan said, he had to do what was best for him and best for his family in the situation. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but you can't blame the guy. You gotta continue on with your life and your career, and can't sit there on the sidelines going, well, let's throw a quarter in the air and hope it lands heads,
I mean, this had to be an enormously painful decision for him to, because I don't think he would leave Oregon State for Michigan State under normal circumstances.
No way.
I mean, and I mean, he knows that there's a certain amount of that fan base that will unfairly, completely unjustifiably, view him as a traitor. For this.
Yeah, and look. No one here, especially me, when I'm bringing this up to talk about, it's not blaming John Smith for anything. It's the Beaver fan base who's kind of didn't like the way he kind of handled it. But no coach is going to tell you 2 weeks beforehand, hey, I'm already kind of in works with this. But it was kind of that final painful kick to Oregon State, unfortunately. You don't have a conference technically. Your money is on hold. You're going to get some money, but then you lose your coach too, who's an alum and a former quarterback. I mean, it was just kind of like that final kick to them this season in the worst of ways. And so I've always felt bad for the Beavers. Me and Spaz can agree. We've always hoped Washington State and Oregon State would follow along and be able to come. But the stars have never aligned like that. And it sucks. It's hard for that team, I know, and that fan base. We also had the saga briefly for about 5 hours last night of Mark Stoops going to Texas A&M, then an alleged petition, kind of like a Tennessee thing, going, we don't want Mark Stoops, and then that was never happening. That wasn't happening. And today it's Mike Elko, which is not a surprise at all. I think everyone felt Mike Elko was definitely one of the top names that Texas A&M was going after.
Yeah,
poor Duke though. Poor Duke. Every time they get a coach.
That's the reality. I mean, Duke, as someone who's been on that campus, I've been to a football game there. It's just you're not going to win unless you have a David Cutcliffe type of guy that just is really loyal to that program. You're not going to get, the good coaches you get are going to get poached. That's just the reality of that program. And as someone who was victimized by Duke this year, I mean, I hate it for them because we don't often get to talk about Duke football, and they were a lot of fun to watch this year, especially when Riley Leonard was healthy, and but that's just the reality of college football. Mike Elko went back to a job that he's familiar with. He understands what it takes to win there, and he's kind of proven his worth at one of the toughest jobs in college football, I would say, in Duke. So,
yeah. If the story about the Stoops issue is true, is real, that they had him lined up and fired, and then they caved to fan and booster pressure, that again just shows you everything that is wrong with the Texas A&M program. I mean, like it's a rudderless ship there. The athletic directors the athletic department's beholden to the boosters and the crazies, and that makes it not that attractive of a job. And the Elko hiring, which was surprising to me because I heard he didn't really enjoy it. I had heard from multiple people he didn't really enjoy his time at Texas A&M. He was very happy to take any job.
It was probably for different reasons than the school itself. I mean, maybe possibly who he was working for.
Yeah, that could be it too. So yeah, I was thinking Elko was not really in the running for this job, and then he got hired. So this is the most Texas A&M story like ever. This is there's like 2 or 3 programs in the country where stuff like this you expect, and this is they're one of them.
Well, my question is, will Jamie Chadwell leave Liberty for Duke, or is he waiting for a job like North Carolina to open up?
I can't imagine Liberty. I mean, Duke's. I don't know. I can't. I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
I don't see a one year coach jumping after 1 year. I think he'll be there at least a couple.
Not for that job. No.
Yeah.
You never know in the crazy world of college football.
It's definitely possible, but I would give it a pretty low percentage chance of happening.
I mean, they don't the fan support. I mean, Duke when they were good this year, and still the fan support wasn't amazing. Like that's just you're not really going to get. There's a very clear cap at what you can accomplish at Duke. I mean, I think David Cutcliffe maximized that program about as well as I've seen anybody do it. I mean, he had them in the ACC championship game. Like that it's a tough job. I mean, maybe they're investing a little bit more than they used to, but they're still not at a point where you feel like you can compete with some of the bigger programs, even within the ACC. I mean, they're not even in the middle tier of the conference as far as spending and investment in their football program. So I couldn't see Jamie Chadwell looking at that and seeing it as desirable, because you're not, everywhere else he's had some advantages as far as, not advantages, but he's had at least some administrative buy-in, and I just don't think that's really the case at Duke.
Yeah, they put a lot of money. I mean, and represented to the rest of the Sun Belt, Liberty spends a ton of money on their athletic department.
They spent way more than the rest of that conference, and that's why they'll be really good for a while.
Was there really a $50 million buyout for Stoops?
Maybe. I mean, he's making quite a bit.
I saw a couple of different things up here about.
Yeah, I saw it. Don't know if that's true or not. Regardless, A&M just paid $75 million for someone to fucking not come back to work.
Yeah,
they'll
but do you
dig
want
up $50 million if they want to.
Someone from their previous job, then you're basically paying 3 coaches for the next 3 years. Then
Elko's problem was apparently he wanted more money than A&M wanted to give him, but then A&M caved to it or something like that. We'll get some more details when that comes out.
Well,
But
I gotta be honest. Like when I saw this Mark Stoops saga, I honestly thought we were gonna see another situation like 2017 Tennessee. You know, when it looked like they were gonna they're gonna get Jeff Brom. Oh, they're gonna get Dave Doreen. They're gonna get Mike Gundy. Oh, they're gonna get Mike Leach. Oh, they're gonna get this guy. They couldn't get coach number 7 on the candidates list. Like that was bad. I thought we were gonna see another situation like that, but in College Station. But thankfully, we didn't.
Yeah, I mean, this could
Conundrum
have
says
gotten
it
really
is
ugly.
true.
This could have
That
gotten really ugly. Elko's a tourniquet stopping the bleeding here. This could have been a very embarrassing situation for A&M.
well, I think A&M is at least satisfied and happy someone is coming back that they're familiar with, and obviously did a good job at A&M while he was there as DC.
He's done a great job everywhere. His
So-
track record's really, really impressive.
Wake Forest, he was great. Like he's just a really good, defensive mind, and he's proven to be a good CEO type head coach.
Well,
And I am curious too. I don't know if he got passed up. I know he was in the running for the job at Michigan State. It was basically from what I heard from all the media around here, it was down to him and Jonathan Smith.
that sounds about right. They
about a
seem
week
to have
ago.
the same kind of style of play that Michigan State likes to use.
Oh yeah.
So those were definitely two top candidates, I think, for MSU. But I will say, in the sense of like that, defense,
A&M is a better job, and that it's a sexier job. I'm not necessarily not sure.
I'll agree with that. Another fan base that's very happy, one that had zero offense this year, is Jeff Lebby to Mississippi State after their interim hire following the passing of Mike Leach decided to destroy an air raid offense that was built for an air raid offense, and they couldn't do. They did absolutely nothing offensively this whole season.
Yeah, this one is probably the least, like, it doesn't really move the needle for me. I mean, it's better than Zach Arnett, I guess, but that's a pretty low bar. I mean, as a guy that they just kind of stuck with and decided to give a shot, and obviously that was a disaster. Jeff Lebby's been in the industry a long time. I mean, his offenses, he's well respected, as an offensive mind and all that. But I'm interested. I'll be watching it, but it's not really the sexiest hire. But obviously, it's Mississippi State. How many big name guys are going to want to do or see that job as attractive? It's a tough job, within the SEC. So.
I'm surprised they were so impatient, so quick to make this hire. To be honest, I mean, there are some names that are what.
I feel like they just needed to do, like, they felt like they needed it because they bought last year. It was like they felt like they were put in a bind, and they just were like, okay, let's give the guy next up a shot. And now it's like, okay, we can't get this. We need to just go ahead and find somebody that at least somewhat knows what they're doing, and hope it works out. And that's about the best they can do.
I mean, a 39-year-old with no head coaching experience who's only been a coordinator for like a year or two, I believe. I mean, this is.
But that and with A&M being open, at the time, I mean, that's why they pulled the trigger on Zach Arnett a while back, so they could take some time to kind of look around and feel the landscape. And I think they saw too many opportunities where they had to take action, something.
Well,
and there's the Mississippi State field. I'm sorry, Jackson, go ahead.
There's the Mississippi contract laws where you can only give employees a 4-year contract, and the fact that when Zach Arnett was hired, they didn't even have an AD out. So now that they got the AD that they need, they're like, oh well, we can get Zach Arnett out and we can get ourselves a head coach. We can get something. We can plan something out. You were saying, Sean?
I was just going to say Mississippi State just reminds me of that friend you go out with on the weekends who just doesn't have enough confidence, and he just goes home with whoever's available at the night, whoever smiles at him. And, That's how he. And I mean, these last two hires for Mississippi State, very uninspiring. After they took a big risk, after they went big with Mike Leach. These are two very very underwhelming head coaching hires.
Yeah, but and I guess it's because I think at a place like Mississippi State, you need to hire somebody that has a clear identity, like especially offensively. And I guess Lebby is a guy that he has a specific style of offense that he wants to run, and build towards that, because that's something you have to be somewhat unique on offensively, and because you're just not going to be very talented. I think I think Bud Elliott talked about this a little bit on one of the Cover 3 podcasts, and I thought it made a lot of sense. It was like you have to do things differently there. That's why Mike Leach was able to be somewhat successful, because he ran a unique scheme that you had to have a unique game plan for, and that you can catch somebody off guard and you maybe beat somebody that might have a better talented roster than you. Obviously, Jeff Lebby's scheme is not like Mike Leach's air raid, but he still has a clear offensive identity, and if you get the right players, you can make it and kind of develop the talent you get. You can make it work, I think.
Well, that's why Arnett kind of ruined it, because he took. He was the DC. The defense was not like terrible at Mississippi State this year, but he destroyed that offense and said, we're not doing air raid, even though it was built for that. Whereas Lebby's going to come in with a creative offensive mind, at least, and try to, out scheme other teams. And that's kind of what Mississippi State needs to do a little bit. And I agree with Jordan. Yeah, I think it was Bud that said that on Cover 3.
I'll be honest, I wish they hired Jamie Chadwell to be the next head coach. I mean, Jeff Lebby's all right. I mean, he's done very well at offense, but I know that the Oklahoma fan base has been unsatisfied with Jeff Lebby. But, oh well, I guess it is what it is over in Starkville. I wish him a lot of luck.
I would say Jackie Sherrill had a little bit of success there running a fairly conventional program. He's obviously one of the best college coaches of the last, 50 years. But even he, I think, ran into some limitations, and we're talking, over 20 years ago now.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's a tough job. You're just, even your in-state rival is more positioned to be competitive from a recruiting standpoint. So that makes things difficult. You're not Mississippi is not a super talented state. They have some decent high school talent, but you're having to split it. You're having to share it within the state with another program who right now is just flat out better than you right now. So
that
Mississippi does have the most NFL players per capita of any state. It's got a lot of.
Is it Mississippi or is it? I thought it was Georgia. I think Georgia is better per capita.
Georgia has a lot more people.
Yeah, but I
remember hearing Mississippi. At one point, it was Mississippi. At one point, recently,
I think Georgia has it. Over Mississippi, but they're still a pretty tough. For their population, they're still pretty talented, and teams go into the state of Mississippi and get guys all the time.
Oh yeah, So Mississippi State's not just competing with Ole Miss for Mississippi players. No, everyone's in there.
Well, thinking of teams that have gained coaches, there are teams that have also lost coaches and left wide openings, such as after 5 seasons, Houston has let go of Dana Holgorsen, which is not quite a surprise. A certain someone on this panel wanted to come on or not this panel, but wanted to come on tonight and rag on how much he loves Dana Holgorsen, but that was sarcasm. Joey hates Dana Holgorsen, so
I don't care for him either. So,
well, I have a feel what led up to it was that disappointing 2022 season where everybody expected Houston to do a little more than 8-5, especially win the AAC after being the runner-up in 2021. And this year, that 4-8 season, that was a disaster. in that first season in the Big 12. My
Well,
question is,
they had a disaster. Yeah, the last year in the AAC wasn't good either. I don't even think they made a
No.
bowl last year, did they? No.
well, they made a bowl. They were 7-5. Then they won their bowl game, but one of their
Yeah.
losses, John, was against SMU. And oh my God, it was
77-63 or something. Was that the score?
against SMU on the NFL Network. Yes.
That was just
That was a game that happened for sure. That was something.
I mean, that was dreadful. That Houston defense was just dreadful.
I remember watching like whatever. I wasn't watching it intently, but I would just make sure I changed like every 5 minutes to that game just to see how many more points were on the board. It was like 14-21 every time.
True.
It was wild.
Well, I will say, will Jeff Traylor leave UTSA for Houston?
Yeah, possible.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a more likely than it was ever with the A&M thing.
Yeah.
That's definitely much more likely.
Well, I mean, the Big 12's going to be really competitive, especially next year. But although, it will be a little bit easier without Texas and Oklahoma.
Well,
For
going
sure.
UTSA to Houston, you're still in Texas footprint, so you still have all those recruiting connections. And
That is true.
And there's some similar overlap. Like they're big metro commuter schools, that have So culturally, it's not that they're not that different from each other. To be honest, Houston
Well, we
has got
got-
much more.
But Houston, money wise and resources, it's not even
Yeah.
close.
Oh no, it's
hard
not.
investment.
It's not.
Well, and
But-
Hookem 247 is asking, will Gary Patterson go to Houston? So, what do you think
Possible.
about that?
I think that would I would hire him in a heartbeat if I were them. If he's willing to do it, I would definitely reach out.
Yeah,
He would-
if he would agree to a deal that they could do, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't at least talk to him.
The only
Yeah.
the only difference is like Houston has, when they've been successful over the past 20 years, or going back even further to the Andre Ware, David Klingler days. I mean, this is a program with an offensive identity, and with a certain type of offensive identity. I don't know if I don't know. I mean, could Patterson build them into a TCU type of program?
Push Kingsbury to Houston. That could be maybe.
If there's one name I'm tired of hearing in coaching searches, it's Cliff Kingsbury. I just I do not care for him at all. I'm tired of hearing his name on every single. I mean,
But for
obviously this one makes more sense than some other ones, but good.
Yeah, for Houston, it might be okay though.
Well, here's the thing about Kingsbury, though. He's a great offensive coordinator, but he's a disaster as a head coach.
At both levels.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's Houston at. I have to keep reminding myself. Houston is Power 5 now. They're
Yep.
in the Big 12. I have to remind myself that I still want to say Group of 5, but another Power 5 that opens. Indiana finally pulls the metaphorical trigger on Tom Allen. He gone.
Yeah, this
It was only a matter of time.
They've
Do you
been a
think
big.
you could get?
20,
Do you think
21.
Indiana could get Jason Candle to be the new head coach?
I think that's the name that they should be looking at. One of the top 2 or 3 they should be seeing. If I'm Jason Candle, though, I don't know if I really want that job.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, Indiana, you could make an argument Indiana is the worst Power 5 job in the country.
It's
a
right.
tough,
It's
that's a tough gig.
I mean, like I say, this Indiana is not a great football state, and Indiana has no chance. They're drawing dead for the best players in their own state.
Right. I mean,
Like
Notre
Michigan,
Dame.
Ohio State are
Any
coming.
good player is going to Notre Dame, or even like Illinois, and definitely tons of the other Big Ten schools. Like, why? If I'm an in-state kid, a top Indiana kid in-state, Well, I mean, why the hell would I go to Indiana? I could go to Notre Dame and or anywhere else, Ohio State, Michigan, and have a lot more success. You're not going to win. It's a tough gig, and Tom Allen bought himself some time in that COVID season. Michael Penix had that pretty awesome year, but beyond that, it's just Tom Allen had them competitive at times, but man, you're just not. It's a tough job, and you're never going to be overly talented or get guys.
No, not even overly talented. You're never ever going to be like competitively talented, really,
Right.
with even the middle of that conference.
They've been abysmal, and Purdue. Watching that Purdue game, I was like, good Lord. I didn't watch it, but I tuned in every once in a while. I was like, good Lord.
So similarly, they're like Mississippi State. They have to get someone who's creative to be
Yeah,
able to
yeah.
kind of
You
work
got
around
to
the
run the triple
obstacles.
option or something. I don't know.
Right. Kevin Wilson, player abuse notwithstanding, clearly a great offensive mind. He's a genius. He got them to the point where they weren't winning a whole lot under him. They were going like 5-7, between like 4-8 and 6-6, but they were at least putting a product on the field that was interesting and that teams had to prepare for, and that were yeah. So and they were putting up tons and tons of points. They were giving up more, but he had some success there. And Allen had a little bit of success because he had a great quarterback for a couple seasons. And then once he was gone, nothing.
Yeah. That's not a surprise. It was only a matter of time, I think. I think everyone saw this coming for like 2 years now. It was just they were waiting on that buyout because someone said $50 million. No, I think it was $20 million. They still had to pay Allen to buy him out.
We're talking about
$1 million buyout.
The Stoops buyout here?
Yeah. It was they still had to pay him. I had that down to it where they could afford to even pay him off, so to say. So Tom Allen's going to go sit on an island with Jimbo Fisher and Ed Ogeron.
There's lots of buzz that he might go to USC to be the DC, which I think would be.
I don't think he'd fit in. I don't think he'd fit in that culture at all. At all. Like,
if they don't get Jim Leonard, they're idiots. That's all I'm going to say about the USC DC position.
I think if Jim Leonard wants that job, he can have it. If Jim Leonard's not announced as the DC there, it'll be because he chose not to take it. That's
right. Yeah, exactly.
Which he's going to have high demands, I think. Any DC going to USC is going to say, no, it's my way or nothing.
He's got more leverage than any assistant coach in the country.
I would definitely think so.
Yeah.
Well, on from sad news of firings to good news. A couple weeks back, 2 or 3 weeks back, we said how James Madison was basically not suing the NCAA, but petitioning to allow them to be in a bowl game. And then they dropped their complaint, so to say. But today, James Madison and Jacksonville State are both going bowling in the
offseason. At least one Gamecock will be there.
Because of open slots. Open slots, James Madison and Jacksonville State have both been allowed to go.
You're welcome, James Madison. You're welcome.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, if South Carolina had won yesterday, then they would have.
Send your bouquets to Northwestern and Wisconsin, who also kept a couple Big Ten teams out.
Yeah.
Well, we'd said how stupid it was, especially James Madison, how good they've been 2 years in a row to not be able to. So at least they got a break.
They're still not playing for a Sun Belt championship, though, right?
No, they're not. But at least they're going to get to go bowling. They're going to get postseason, so they can get another win, and that's good for their recruiting. Some money, some perks. All the players get to enjoy it, and they deserve it. I mean, damn.
Yeah, I saw an interesting. I had an interesting exchange with someone on Twitter this week. Someone said, like, why would the school spend all these resources, to go somewhere and play these games in front of 2,500 people, completely empty stadiums? And said, well, for one, like the amount that the networks are paying to broadcast these games and the amount of revenue share you get from your conference for participating in these games is way outweighs the cost that you incur by attending them, by playing them.
Plus-
and then plus you're more people are going to watch whatever bowl games all these group of 5 teams are in, like more than 10 times.
Yeah,
Probably more than 20 times as many people.
TV exposure
these games
itself
and
is
watch-
huge.
yeah, and probably the biggest thing for coaches, especially, is those bowl practices are invaluable, especially with the rules now where you can bring in freshmen and allow them to practice, freshmen for next year, and allow them to practice, and it gives you a lot of opportunity to get your red shirt, some players on your roster that you were playing in red shirt to really get involved and play. And obviously now bowl games don't count towards your red shirt status. So there's a lot of benefits, even just from a football only standpoint, to play in a bowl game, even if it's not a great one. It's like those practices are invaluable and allows you to evaluate who you have for next year. What guys do you think you're going to have next year? Who's going to be transferring out? All of that kind of stuff. So
some guys are trying to help build their potential draft stock, or maybe get a look for the Senior Bowl or even the Combine. I mean, it helps a lot of those guys.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Oh wait, I'm not doing drum rolls. All right, we have to get on to what we're going to do this whole time. We're going to try to rapid fire through a few of these because I don't know how much input all of us have on certain games here. But we're going to have to start with our selections and predictions. Not necessarily score prediction, just winners, win-lose of conference title games, because that's what everyone's here for. Someone said earlier, hurry up, get on with the picks. It's like, all right. And we got to start with Conference USA. Who dares pick the winner of New Mexico State versus Liberty?
I will never pick a school founded by a televangelist ever. So let's go Jerry Kill.
I understand, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go against you. I think Liberty's the better football team, but this one will be interesting. And Jerry Kill has done a damn good job. That program was in the dumps, a few years ago. So it would be really great for them to kind of punctuate their season. But I think Liberty is I think they're too good right now, and that they just have a better roster and just better resources than any other program in that conference. And Jamie Chadwell is obviously. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to win.
Well, something to remember at stake, if New Mexico State wins, this will be their 11th win, and it'll be the first time since 1960 where they have an 11-win season. And if Liberty wins, well, they're still in play for a shot at a New Year's Six Bowl. Not saying that they will, but they could have a shot at a New Year's Six Bowl as the top Group of 5 representative. But in conclusion, I'm going to go with Liberty on this one. I mean, I love what Jerry Kill has done with the New Mexico State Aggies. I mean, before he showed up there, I mean, that place was just a complete and total dung heap. I mean, when you're thinking of New Mexico State, you're not thinking of them as a team that can beat Auburn, but they did. And all you got to do is look at the body of work, at the career of Jerry Kill, where he's done such a tremendous job over at Northern Illinois, over at Minnesota, over at Southern Illinois. And if anybody that's associated with New Mexico State, I had a feeling that they felt like there were going to be some happy days coming in the University of New Mexico State. But for right now, I got to say Liberty will be 13-0. And it's going to be a 35-24 victory.
Did anyone remember that COVID season a couple years ago? New Mexico State couldn't play any. They weren't. They couldn't schedule anyone in the fall to play, so they ended up playing like 4 or 5 Division I AA teams in the spring. And I think they lost they lost like 3 of those games against.
Oh
like
God,
Tarleton
they were
State.
terrible.
New Mexico State has been terrible for a long time. Absolutely terrible. Spaz, do you have a quick prediction on this game? Do you have any? It's not like I'm taking notes and writing down your records and I'm going to drill you and make fun of you next week or something.
No,
I'm kind of disappointed you're not.
I
might go back. I might go back and write them down.
Liberty's just been on a roll this year, and I just think that New Mexico State's had a good year, but they're not going to beat Liberty. Jerry,
He's gone. Spaz is gone. I'm calling for the upset. New Mexico State, baby, over Liberty. Let's go, Jerry. Let's go with the Jerry Kills. All right, Spaz.
And he's back. He's back.
I wasn't thinking that blasphemy.
That's what you're going to say.
All right, what are you saying, Spaz? I'll let you finish.
Oh, I was just saying Jerry Kill has him going, and I just, Jordan said it, no matter where he's gone, he's just, he's been successful.
Yeah, Jerry Kill is, if it wasn't for his health problem, he's just such an underrated coach. He always has been. It's just been his health issues that have kind of kept him,
When he was at Minnesota, I looked at him and thought, I wish every coach had a team that looks as much like their mascot as Jerry Kill looks like Jerry the Gopher. The Gopher. He looks like a gopher.
All right, let's
Great.
All right. So we're a little split on that one. We're a little split on that decision. Another exciting one. We've got Maction. The MAC Championship. Do we have Miami, Ohio, or Toledo?
I've got Toledo all over this one. I mean, Toledo's probably. I mean, they might be a double-digit favorite in this. They're clearly the class of the MAC.
Yeah, they have been. They're the best program. I feel like I want to pick upsets in these G5 conference championships, but some of these feel really straightforward, and it's very clear who is the better team.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to pick against Toledo.
And if you remember, Toledo lost like a nail biter the very first week against Illinois, and had they not been doing that, they might have been in line for a New Year's Six bid in this. They would almost certainly be in the top 25 right now. And their quarterback is a lot of fun. He's a complete maniac, Duquan Fenn. He just scrambles around, just tries to make a play out of every situation, even when he shouldn't. And it's a lot of fun to watch. And Penny Boone's a really, really strong running back too. They're a fun. They are a really fun G5 team to watch.
Yeah,
and
pretty.
They would know who Miami of Ohio's quarterback is. You guys know that name? Brett Gabbert.
Oh,
brother of
certain Gabbert.
Brother of Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got 1,634 passing yards and 14 touchdown passes for the season.
Was he hurt? For a good stretch.
Most
I'm not
likely.
sure.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah,
If that's his
that's not
stats,
much.
most likely.
Oh, jeez.
But we
They're a
know
10-2 team.
that DeQuan Finn is leading the MAC in passing yards for the season in the conference.
Yeah, he's
And he
He's
leads
worth
the
the price of
conference in
admission.
touchdown passes. I got a little nickname for both these teams. Miami, Ohio. Now we know they were the cradle of coaches, but Toledo, I personally call them the cradle of coaches 2.0.
Yeah, absolutely. You can think of Matt Campbell came out of there. Toledo
Saban came out of there.
Who's that?
Saban came out of there, and Gary Pinkel came out of there.
Saban was only there for 1 year, I believe, right?
Yeah,
A while ago,
1990.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely.
So
Spaz, do you have any money on this game?
No. My only money prediction is Miami, Ohio is going to get resurrected by the ghost of Ben Roethlisberger as he comes off the retired crippled list for his 19th season to lead his alma mater to a victory under a mask.
I would love to see him just run on the field during a play and just disrupt everything. That would just be legendary. I don't know. I'm gonna just pick Toledo in this one. I have not watched a ton of action this year, so I have no skin in this game at all. And
what are you doing with your Tuesday nights, Ben?
I know. My Tuesday nights have been I'm on the Oregon live show. That's why I'm wasting my nights watching action. Yeah. That's what it is. Damn it, Spaz. Oh, my action this season.
Well, I was looking at Toledo. They had a close win against Miami, Ohio earlier this year on the third Saturday of October with a 21-17 victory. Now, I'm kind of wondering if we'll see the OG Cradle Coaches team get some revenge, or will Cradle Coaches 2.0 win a 12th straight game? I'm going to go ahead and say Toledo 28, Miami, Ohio 21.
It's gonna be. I think it'll be a close game no matter what. Both these teams are really good. Apparently, you're looking at their record: 10-2, 11-1. They're good teams. They're not.
One division. I remember looking at in the preseason. The East, which is where Toledo's coming out of, I think was much tougher than the West. The West has all the Michigan teams.
Well, Toledo's coming out of the West. Miami, Ohio comes out of the East.
That geographically, coming from Ohio, that doesn't quite make sense because I'm pretty sure Miami is what Oxford is west of Toledo. Barely.
All right, you pull up a Google map and you let us know when you figure that out.
Well,
but it is Mac.
It'll be riveting to our viewers, I'm sure.
Toledo, if they win this next Saturday, it'll be the second straight year that they win the MAC. Because I remember watching a little bit of that game against Ohio. They did a tremendous job against Ohio. So I mean, I'm surprised Jason Candle hasn't gotten a new job by now. I mean, somebody should get him to be their next head coach.
Well, unlike
he just loves the smell of burnt rubber, I guess. So or burnt glass or something. Some industrial smell. Yeah.
Oh, Jordan, is that what it is? Yeah, Jordan dropped out, and I can't add him back in because his devices are disconnected. He's ripped Jordan's webcam. 2023. It lasted less than a year.
Oh no!
Because he was blurry. He's been blurry this whole show, and I just didn't say anything. And I guess it finally just.
So is he gone?
He's in the background. His device is not connected. I can't add him back in. I put in the private chat like, "Hey, come back out." And Jordan, just come back in and use an avatar.
Jordan, who's your pick on the MAC title game?
Yeah, just use your mic.
Jordan, who's your pick on the MAC title game? Is it going to be Toledo or Miami, Ohio?
That is a good question, Erica. Yeah.
That would be something. That's a merchandise idea, Mark. Pay attention to Erica over here.
There
We're
you
getting to
go.
your game, Erica. We're getting to your game. The Mountain West had a little confusion this week as they were. UNLV was pretty much, I think, a kind of a lock for the Mountain West title game, but it really came down to a couple games, and they did not go in favor of the Mountain West. So the Mountain West actually had to use their computer system to get the runner-up for the title game. So we have Boise State versus UNLV. I'm just going to say right now, UNLV. Sorry, Boise State lost their coach, Andy Avalos. I think UNLV's
And
pretty
they won
strong.
2 straight games. They knocked off Air Force. Nobody expected that. I
It's
watched
true.
the second half of that game the other night, and I was actually very shocked that Boise State seems to be rallying around the interim coach.
It's true. That's fair.
Yeah, that'd be wild. You fire your coach in mid-season and then win a conference title. The Mountain West is hot. The Mountain West is hot garbage this year. I don't.
It's going to be the Mountain Pack next year. You watch.
Thank you for the kind word.
Winning this would be like being the valedictorian of alternative school. Here, I mean, cool.
I think UNLV has too much riding on this, though. I think UNLV has all.
UNLV. I mean, they're just like New Mexico State, except they've been really, really bad for even longer. You know, I mean, they
off and on. Yeah. I mean, agreeable though.
Yeah, I don't think they've had a winning season since Jackson. I'm going to refer to the Jack Cyclopedia here.
The Jack Cyclopedia.
Well, I know they went to the heart of
13, right? Something like that. Last
yeah,
time
they
went
played
to
in the heart of Dallas Bowl on ESPNU in the OG Cotton Bowl. That's what I remember. Bobby Hewitt was their head coach at that time.
Yeah. I mean, they're always a safe bet for like 1 to 3 wins or something like that. And yeah, great season. And they're boosting Michigan's RPI or whatever, strength of schedule.
Yeah. Well, the last time they had a 9-win or more season was 1984, where they went 11-2 with Harvey Hyde. But I believe that was vacated due to ineligible player use.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first legitimate. This is like the first legitimate successful season that UNLV has had in their school's history. So I mean, Barry Odom, dude, has done a tremendous job over at UNLV. I mean, I would not be surprised if Power 5 schools decide to give him a second look.
Yeah.
UNLV has been a surprise this year.
Yeah.
A nice surprise.
Yeah, you recruit the kids there and you can't keep them off of the Strip or Fremont Street. And then, things just go wrong. Typically.
So I think most people are kind of on UNLV. Maybe a couple. Jackson, were you with Boise?
No. I'm not
UNLV taking kind of the home.
I'm going to say it's UNLV 31, Boise State 27.
I'll stick my neck out for the salt of the earth people up in Boise, Idaho, against the ruffian vagrants from Vegas here. So, give me Boise State.
All right, there we go. I like that. I mean, and we didn't even bring that up, and I don't want to get into it too much. In literally just name only, not reasons why. Who will Boise State get to be their head coach?
I'm wondering if they're going to have that interim coach Spencer Danielson as their new head coach, or if they're going to try to get Chip Kelly once Chip Kelly gets fired by UCLA, or
hasn't-
maybe,
He hasn't been fired yet.
Yeah, well, why are we
True.
talking about it like that?
or maybe they get Rich Rod to lead Jacksonville State.
Ooh, that would be fun, actually. Rich Rod at
Yeah.
Boise State. I'd actually.
Yeah,
I could get
I
down with
mean,
that.
there you go. Rich Rod. I mean, he's not going to wait for West Virginia to open up. So why not go to Boise, Idaho, and dominate the Mountain West?
Rich Rod might go to Rich Rod might go to Houston. Ooh,
Sweet.
didn't even talk about that one, did we?
Spicy. I like it.
Spicy. All right. Anyways, we're gonna move on from that because we know Chris Peterson's not coming back.
Or he could.
This
you know.
is. I think this will be one of
He
the better
definitely could.
games. This will be one of the better ones.
I didn't think that would be the weirdest thing ever if Chris Peterson did come back. I think he didn't like the pressure of being a Power 5 coach. I think there's a reason why he stayed at Boise as long as he did.
Well, he definitely wanted time off. He said that openly. He's like, nah, I want some time away. Get a break. People said Bronco Mendenhall. I'm like, Boise might not be a bad spot for him to go reboot.
No.
Broncos gonna get courted by Oregon State. I can guarantee you that.
That too. That's a good possibility.
That would be a great.
Are there a lot of mountains in Corvallis for him to climb? Because I'm pretty sure he's not
that far. He's not that far from Idaho and stuff like that. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
There are mountains in Corvallis. There's Mary's Peak and a few others within driving distance.
Well, a couple hours away, you have the Three Sisters, and you have Mount Hood. So,
well, I mean, Bronco Mendenhall did go to school at Oregon State, and he was graduate assistant. So, I mean,
yeah, they're going to call him. They're going to call him at minimum. At minimum, they're going to have to at least have him tell them no. Mendenhall set for life.
He died at Michigan, and we don't want to ever hear that name on the West Coast again.
Mendenhall is set for life. He doesn't need money, so it's not like Oregon State's going to have to offer him a lot. It's just does he want to get back into coaching? He wanted a break too. So
people tune in for college football talk, and they learn about Ohio geography and Oregon geography. Once. So,
no, you're stuck with him, George.
For another year at least.
Yeah, you're stuck with him.
Yeah. I think so. Hey, recruiting class is still. Well, we'll see about that.
I want to mention this. I think the problem with Billy Napier is I do think he's a builder, and there's not a lot of patience at a place like Florida.
That too.
Yeah,
I think he has to have another year. But if it's still the same crap, it's not gonna. He won't be there. He won't be there.
I don't love his staff hires. I think that's my biggest thing. It's like Billy Napier is a proven recruiter. I mean, even he was a good recruiter, even like back when he was offensive coordinator at Clemson. I'm questioning some of like his staff decisions.
To your point about the recruiting, Jordan, the 2024 recruiting class of Florida is 5th in the nation.
Right. Yeah. He has a damn good class. Is that
the 247 like composite rankings? Or?
Yep.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't have them. I don't have them up by memory, but I know it's if it's not top 5, it's pretty damn close.
It may have changed
anywhere you look.
Since I last looked at it.
So, anywhere you look, I mean, they still have a really good class together. You know, DJ Lagway is one of the top quarterback recruits in the country. They have a lot of pieces, but that's not the problem. The infusion of talent isn't the problem. But I don't really love. I don't think he's a very good in-game coach, and he's kind of shown that in multiple games this year. Game management, personnel management. There just leaves a lot to be desired, and I don't really love the staff that he's put together. So, and I think some heads are going to have to roll, and he's going to have to make some changes because as unfair as it is, year 3 is always going to be you show us something year, and this is a big offseason for him. It's a big offseason for a couple of for a few SEC coaches that are
Oh, yeah.
trying to turn
Oh,
their
yeah.
programs.
Especially in SEC country, where they will
Yeah.
fire you for slipping on a banana peel.
Pretty much, especially
The-
at Florida.
It's weird though. Florida doesn't seem to be like one of the most high pressure environments out of all those SEC jobs. It actually seems to me like I don't know. I mean, I never get the sense that the coaches don't have control of the program there.
Well,
I mean, I really, I don't
that
feel
hasn't
like
been the problem.
no.
I think it's like some programs. You have so many outside voices dictating what they want, what you want to do. He's not like Urban Meyer walking back into Florida going, "I've got control of this bitch. You shut up."
But Florida doesn't seem to me to be a program where I hear like boosters are running wild like at Auburn or A&M.
No,
or,
it's not that kind of, and I don't think it's a booster thing. I think administration wise, they've been kind of inept for a little bit, and that's kind of been a problem as far as the football programs. I mean, Florida is one of the best athletic programs in the country. It's one of the most well run, but as far as how they've managed their football program these last few years, it's been pretty rough. I say that just from talking to Florida people I know and people who would know more about that situation than I do. But even from an outside perspective, it just seems like things aren't really organized. I don't think it's like a toxic culture like you would think of with like Auburn or maybe A&M. It's more of just things are kind of in disarray and nobody really knows what the solution is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, back to what we're talking about.
I'm hearing signals. I'm hearing signals from above.
Oh God, we have a crazy person. I'm removing him from the panel again. I'm not dealing with crazy people tonight. We're not hearing aliens.
Is that why Kings of the North
God
has
has
been on mute
spoken. Tim Tebow is going to be dropped from the heavens to save the Florida program.
All I know is I have one guarantee right now. Unlike the people we're talking about right now, Florida's not even going bowling, so we don't have to worry about Florida. So I think the next game is actually one of the more intriguing. It's the AAC championship. Tulane, who could be easily undefeated, had Pratt been able to play against Ole Miss. They are 11-1 versus SMU, a very offensive-oriented team, 10-2. This could be one of those like shootout games. Who do you guys got?
This one's this is probably the. I don't know. I kind of want to go SMU. I like what I think. Rhett Lashley has done a good job there, and it's clear that his offense has really kind of propelled them, and I don't know. I feel like SMU is in a better position if this game gets a little pointsy to win that game. And I think SMU is going to score points. Even I think Tulane's defense is pretty solid, but I think SMU is going to be able to score points, and I think they'll be able to score points at a higher clip. It would not surprise me. I'm going to go, since I haven't really picked an upset yet. I'm going to go with this one as my upset. I'm going to pick SMU to win.
I think I'm right there with you on this. I don't know. I really like I really like the changes Rhett Lashley's made in that program last year. Preston Stone's a top flight group of 5 quarterback. And I mean, if they start to score, Tulane doesn't want to get into a shootout. I don't think in this game. It's not really what they're built to do. And I'm not convinced their defense can prevent this from becoming a shootout. So I do like the Mustangs in this one.
Well, I'm looking at this game, and this is, of course, going to be the last AAC game for SMU as they join the ACC next year. I'm curious to see what a Clemson SMU ACC game is going to be like. That's going to be tremendous right there. But I'm looking at this Tulane SMU game, and I think Tulane's going to hold on to the AAC for now for a second straight year. I think they're heading to the near six. But I will be pulling for SMU next Saturday.
This is under the assumption that Preston Stone. There is some question that Preston Stone might not play in this game.
So, really?
Yeah. So just I'm going to point that out. If Preston Stone doesn't play in this game, I rescind my pick. I don't. Rhett Lashley said he feels like he has two other quarterbacks that would be ready to go, but Preston Stone is a starter for a reason. He's been really good this year. That's just a tough ask.
I'm wondering if Tanner Mordecai, if he regrets his decision to transfer out at this point.
I would. I mean, but I understand why he did it. I mean, and you think you're going into a Phil Longo offense that has pretty much has put up points everywhere he's been, but Wisconsin obviously clearly has some personnel limitations, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe it was better to just stick where you have the job locked up, and it's a more favorable you're more favorable from a personnel standpoint and scheme standpoint to put up points and have success. But I think he just wanted a shot to prove himself in a Power 5 conference, and the thought of playing for one of the more respected offensive minds in the game was pretty enticing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, where are we at? Sorry about that. I had to step away for a second. Where are we at?
We just finished talking about the AAC game.
Let's go Tulane. Let's go Tulane.
We're on to the Sun Belt title game between Appalachian State and Troy.
Ooh.
I know very little about either of these teams. I'm going to be honest with you.
I
watched most of Troy against Western. I watched the Troy Western Kentucky game because they played Western Kentucky right after, I think, Ohio State, and that was pretty good.
This is a tough one because you don't know what you're going to get from App State.
I really don't like this App State team very much this year. They've kind of been. They're not
up and down a little bit.
Yeah, they haven't been great by their standards. I think Troy is the more complete football team.
Well, as much as I want to go,
it's a shame James Madison can't play in this game. That's all I'll say.
And
Troy will probably win. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do want to go with Troy, but knowing how App State works. They play well in a big game. They've proven that against North Carolina, and they proved that against James Madison. I think they can pull off the upset over Troy.
They can, but it's just, are they going to? That's, yeah. This is probably the one I don't have really a good feel for either way.
Well, I got to be honest, though. I mean, I'm surprised Sean Clark isn't getting any looks, honestly. And same with John Shire. But, I mean, if Troy wins this game and then they win their bowl game, it will be the second straight year where they get a 12-win season. How about that?
No, I should have made titles for all this in the sense of when the games are getting played. I just don't have enough tabs available because I can't delete marks. This game is on Saturday. This game is on next Saturday. It was
Great.
To the question asked here.
3 p.m. on
this
ESPN.
This is on next Saturday.
3 p.m. on ESPN.
Yep. I only have so many tabs I can make on StreamYard. Otherwise, I have to start deleting marks, and then he's gonna get pissy and send me hateful text messages.
Okay, we're on to the games.
Now,
People
yeah,
care
now,
about
now,
it.
we're getting to what everyone wants. So
Yeah,
now
we're
tell
getting-
your friends, come back to the show, join in, and they can have some conversations. And now we're going to also start talking about a little bit briefly, please, panel here, briefly. Or I don't want to be here for
We'll
3
try.
hours tonight.
We've only been on an
Um,
hour. Right.
Louisville versus FSU in the ACC championship. Louisville obviously coming off that close loss to Kentucky,
Dreadful.
and FSU having a comeback, but a not great showing against a bad Florida team. And George was in here earlier saying how bad Florida is. So, what are you guys' thoughts of this or their week game priors? Kentucky and or the Florida game.
Let's get our ACC
I think one of
guys'
the
opinion first. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of these things. Well, it's one of those things where this game is so tough because I would have felt a little bit different, and I would have a better read on it if both teams aren't coming off of pretty abysmal showings. I mean, obviously Louisville lost their game, and Florida State managed to win, so credit to them. But still, both teams did not look very good yesterday. And so you kind of expect that kind of one team to bounce back and the other team to kind of regress to the mean if one team had lost, or one team had played well and the other team didn't. But both teams are coming off of pretty rough performances. But I think Florida State's the better team, and I trust Mike Norvell as both coaches have done a good job of having their teams prepared on the whole this year. But I think Mike Norvell has done a little bit of a better job. Obviously, he has more talent to work with, and I think the weapons and skill talent that Florida State has is miles better than what Louisville has to offer. And I think as long as Tate Rodemaker doesn't completely, lose them the game, they should be fine. I think they'll be able to. Louisville's defense is pretty stingy, but so is Florida State's, and I think Florida State will make enough plays in this one. And but I think it's going to be tight.
Yeah.
Other assessments?
Yeah.
I think Louisville's gonna. I think they're gonna shock everybody. I just think losing Jordan Travis is gonna catch up to Florida State. Louisville is not great by any means, but Jeff Brom has brought in a good defense there in Louisville, and maybe Plummer might show up. John David Plummer might show up for this game. And if he does, then I think Louisville wins 24-20.
Yeah. I
What do you
mean,
think, Sean?
as a Buckeye fan, I have to pull for Louisville in this game. And I've called them a fraud the entire season. So
surely they'll reward you.
yeah, absolutely.
And
guys will reward you for that.
I don't care about who wins this game or not, to be honest. I think Florida State has been, and someone said earlier, kind of maybe the weakest undefeated team, because really all they had was the LSU win. Outside of that, they haven't done anything to a degree. They really have not. And now without Jordan Travis, that is why the line, and I'm not a gambling person, I'm not a betting person, the line is only -3 Florida State.
Yeah.
That's a coin flip, basically.
Yeah, it's come down from when I saw it. I think earlier today it opened at like 4.5. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
come
and
down.
other sites might have 3.5 or maybe 4 still,
Yeah.
but that's almost a coin flip, basically.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And I do think Louisville is, as someone else mentioned, pissed about that Kentucky game. Maybe we're looking at Florida State, a little bit. Brom has done amazing things this year, and I think Louisville absolutely goes out and takes it away from Florida State.
I mean, I can definitely see it happening. Yeah, Louisville's not great, but it seems like they've gotten like every break this year that can possibly happen. They play Notre Dame when Notre Dame's like kind of in a rough spot. When they've played a bunch of big games in a row, and yeah, in kind of a bad spot against Indiana. Might have
True.
saved them in there. And I don't know. They seem like just that charmed team this year. I think Florida State probably does end up pulling it out because they're more talented across the board. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be shocked either way this game turns out.
Yeah, the only diminishing part and it was never going to happen, so we needed to remove this from potential consideration. Louisville, no matter what, was not going to make the playoffs. There was too many teams in front of them. One loss and all. I see a cattail. I see a cattail slapping you across the forehead. That's greatness. Cattail's like fanning you off. But the Louisville was not going to make the playoffs. But now they have a chance to spoil FSU. And that is a huge motivator. Be the spoiler.
Well, one other thing that's really kept Louisville from being in the top 4 was that loss to Pitt.
The loss to Pitt was enormous. Pitt is bad. They are a bad team. Thinking of fire coaches, we didn't even talk about it. Pitt fired their OC also immediately because it was so bad. Not shocking.
Yeah, so Narduzzi is still there, though.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, College Football Nation, Pittsburgh is where top 25 teams go to die.
That is true. That is true. It is another curse. It's a curse location also.
I mean, I can't say. Referring back to all that coaching talk, I was very pleased to see that Baylor came to their senses and retained Dave Aranda for another year. I think he's a really good coach, and I think
he got rid of his OC also, saying this is crap, and that's coaches need to do that. Guess what? If you're a head coach and you have a crap year, you have to say, what is it? Is it my first year talent, or is it, hey, this coordinator sucks, and make changes? So at least you see coaches doing
Lincoln Riley. He had to fire his best friend.
Yeah, it was like you have to see coaches doing this shit once in a while. Is that like the only second or third time I've cussed tonight? That's amazing. Damn, I'm good. Oh, sorry.
Fourth time.
That was probably pretty loud, actually.
Okay, we can rapid fire through this next game because there is nothing to talk about here.
Sounds like we're no.
Somebody's still crying.
What's the next game? What's the next game?
Absolutely dare you disrespect the mighty Iowa Hawkeyes taking on the Michigan Wolverines. Iowa's defense will be suffocating, but just not enough.
Yeah.
Hey, what's my profile say?
Oh, hold on. Let me get rid of this banner here.
Kings
of the North. That's what it says.
Exactly.
King North.
So you're just gonna see another coronation. That's all it is. It's a coronation of the Kings of the North, the Kings of the Big Ten. The throne is in Ann Arbor. You got to go through Ann Arbor. You got to beat it. To beat the man, you got to beat the man.
Kings of the North. I do want to ask this though, I'm picking Michigan to win this one. Iowa just won't be able to hold up. But what happens? What happens if this turns into like a 15-12 Iowa win? And that's including like a safety and a defensive touchdown for Iowa. What happens? What would the Kings of the North say? I just want to know what that reaction would be. I'm picking Michigan to win, but what would happen?
So yeah, I like indulging in fictitious
hypothetical.
novels.
It's a fully hypothetical.
Yeah, no. This is like this is like reading Harry Potter or something along those lines.
It's complete fantasy. Yeah, we're getting into Tolkien territory here. Come on.
Yeah, for real. I'll entertain.
I said I'm picking Michigan. I already picked Michigan, so I'm just saying that a hypothetical situation.
They're still in the play. Michigan's guaranteed a playoff spot right now. So I mean, either way, they're in the playoffs, win or lose. So, but I don't want that. I'll tell you why I don't want that. Because I want Tony Petiti to hand over that trophy like it's like back when Roger Goodell had to hand over the Super Bowl trophy to Tom Brady. Oh man, it's gonna be sweet. It is going to be so sweet, man. I cannot wait.
It's a nice little payback, I guess, huh? A little justification.
Oh, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be. I'm a bask in Tony Petiti having to hand over Jim Harbaugh a Big Ten trophy after everything.
Well, why didn't Petiti just suspend him for 4 games?
I bet he was. I think he was like, they're not going to win these games. There's no way they beat 2 top 10 teams without their head
No,
coach.
everyone knew Michigan was legit. Everyone knew they were.
So you got to remember, Tony Petiti's new to the block. He's a baseball guy. And he, I truly believe he's probably thinking, because he was supposed to go to the game on Saturday, and I guess he didn't show up. So I am pretty positive. He's like, there is no way they ain't gonna have their head coach. There's no way they beat 2 top 10 teams. There's just no way.
They were favored in both games. I mean,
they were favored, but think about the line of thought. I'm taking their head coach off the sidelines. Ohio State's ranked ahead of them in the playoffs, despite their 3-point favorite, whatever. He's probably thinking, I'm giving these teams the best chance ever to beat Michigan. He's probably thinking I would put my money on Michigan losing one of these games.
I mean, how much does the head coach on game day matter in football?
A lot. I think a lot.
I'll say it's significant, but him prepping during the week, that was significant also.
It does help. It does 100%. But not having your head coach, especially in big games like that, I think.
Really, how much did he get suspended? He didn't get to coach the games. He got to, like Ben was saying, he got to prep all week with them, and then you just can't come to the game on Saturday, bad boy.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I agree to a point.
That's not a suspension.
It's a suspension. It's a suspension because there's still a lot of value in your head coach being on the sideline. The things that go on during game day, the halftime adjustments.
Do your job.
Definitely can be. It varies from team to team, like how much the head coach matters.
Yeah, Spaz. Let's put it this way. Like if Lanning wasn't there for us, those pregame and midgame speeches probably wouldn't have ever happened.
It's
and
not
those
even
were big
just
motivators. So
regardless,
it does matter. I mean,
it's not even just the speeches. It's not even just the speeches. Sharon Moore he's the O-line coach, the OC, and now he's got to handle head coaching duties. He's got 3 jobs in one. So instead of a normal situation where everyone does what they're good at, you're asking one guy to do 3 things at once. And not only that, Jim Harbaugh's one of his best values is in-game adjustments. He's great at in-game adjustments. So
I know we got the super chat, but Tony called right above it. Because Tony called it head straight up right there. Just saying.
I wouldn't be surprised. But I do think in this game, if I have to call it, I'm calling Michigan, but I don't. They're not going to walk all over Iowa. Iowa's just that defensive team that is a pain in everyone's side. If Iowa just had a damn offense,
38-3, then
once Michigan scores their first touchdown, they'll have done enough to win this game. They'll have done enough to win the game.
If Iowa just had, and Erica will say, yes, if we just had an offense, damn it, what is the last numbers for Iowa to reach their 24-25 point total per game? They'd have to score like 140 more points in like this game and the bowl game, or something like that.
To get to 25 points per game.
I love how we said we were going to rapid fire.
Offer, will you?
It just never happens.
All right. Everyone, give us your thing quick, and I want to definitely recognize Erica. Of course, I have it pulled up. I am going Michigan, but I think Iowa is going to show up. They're going to show up.
I think Iowa's going to show up. Michigan's going to do as little as they possibly need to do to just sort of secure.
Get out of there. Just get out of there.
27. Yeah, it'll be like a 27-3 type of type of workman-like demolition, and it'll be an embarrassment to the conference. Once again,
no doubt. I got 38 to 3. I think they're going to try to do as little as possible. They're probably going to treat it like like Michigan does under Harbaugh when it comes to lesser opponents, not really break the bank in terms of play calling. And we're going to be crowned 3 years in a row, Kings of the North, and it is what it is, man. It's a great day to be a Michigan Wolverine, and I'm glad that Ryan Day has the most embarrassing loss of this rivalry from an optics standpoint. It's fantastic.
And I'm going to agree with you on the score, 38-3. It's about what I was thinking too, Kings of the North. But I will say this: enjoy your little Big Ten trophy, because that's all you're going to get.
Hey man, you jumping the gun.
I know it.
No, I don't know that. I don't. First of all, you jumping the gun. Let me tell you this: we want all the smoke. We smoking straight packs at every team this year. We want all the smoke.
Dude, I live in the weed capital of the West Coast in Eugene.
That's why don't listen to Spaz.
And I'm the biggest Duck supporter. But I know if we have to go face Georgia, we're in trouble. If anybody has to go face Georgia, they're in trouble. Do I think it's going to be as bad as it was last year? No, because our offense and everything and our defense is much better. But Georgia right now is just that dog.
Look, they did defending champs, but we that dog this year. We that dog.
There you go.
Right?
Well, we're going to find out very soon this Saturday.
Well,
and
I got
I pick Michigan.
Michigan 35-10.
Okay, that's still a dominating win.
So you're predicting like a block punt for a touchdown or a pick six or something, Jason?
Yeah.
Jordan, what about you? What do you think? Michigan, Iowa.
I like Michigan here. Yeah, I mean, something that we've seen a little bit from Michigan this year is in spots JJ can feel himself and maybe make some throws he probably shouldn't, and I could totally see him doing that in this game, especially coming off of a big win. He made some really great throws against Ohio State. Maybe he does that again and doesn't have much success. I could see that, and maybe he throws an interception or two. But all in all, I think Michigan is just going to overwhelm Iowa. They're going to do what they have to offensively, and I just don't think Iowa has much to offer. Even though Deacon Hill has been fun to watch, I think they're in for it. It's just not a great matchup. I think Michigan wins pretty comfortably.
That's and Erica, thank you for the super chat. One of our best Hawkeye supporters. Although Corey Brada popped up in the background way earlier in the show, I think he realized he was in the wrong stream and dropped out. It was kind of weird. He was in the backstage for like a minute, and I was like, okay. Erica, our favorite Hawkeye fan. Go on to the next game. People are going to crap and hate on us no matter what. There's no hate on my end for Iowa. You guys are going to put up a fight, but you have to admit that the offense is just you've admitted yourself. Iowa just needs to find a damn offense. If they didn't have that defense, everyone would be terrified. I think Iowa will hang in as much as they can, but it's only a matter of time until I think they get worn down. But I'm giving Iowa a fighting chance, but I think Michigan is just going to be too much at the end of the day.
Iowa with the offense would be pretty good.
Okay, I'll give you.
I am pulling for Deacon Hill just because he's like my doppelganger. We've got the same hair and body type, hair, beard. So, yeah. Okay.
What's your score, Ben?
No, I just said, Erica, I did not give a score. Maybe because I'm not being disrespectful to Iowa. I think they'll fight hard.
And hasn't
Why?
given
Look,
Scoop
look,
all
look,
night.
look, look. I'm pleading the fifth on this one.
Ooh,
All right.
guilty.
Anyways,
They'll get their participation trophy.
Impressive, yeah.
anyways, on to Jackson has been relatively pretty quiet tonight. Actually, we've kept him at bay a little bit here. Kind of held him off screen. But we have to go to the SEC championship, which could determine either obviously the number 1 seed or maybe the 3 to 4 seed, depending on who wins this game and the other outcomes, depending on it. Alabama versus Georgia.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I know you were watching both these games closely. Alabama, basically a Hail Mary, 4th and 30 from the goal line. And Georgia, not exactly impressive over Georgia Tech. 31-23, I think it was.
I didn't watch much of Georgia Tech. I watched a little more of Florida State because I kind of thought
It was not impressive. Let's put it that way.
Oh
It
yeah,
was not impressive. So what do you think about with this matchup? Saban versus Kirby Smart.
I think you're going to see a better game from Bama next week than you did this week. That's what I believe is going to happen. Georgia, we know they're going to bring their A game, but question is, did Georgia clinch a playoff spot with a victory over Georgia Tech? Are they in irregardless? That's something to really think about. I mean, everybody will say, no, Georgia's not in if they lose, but we saw that in 2021 where irregardless how they performed in the SEC title, they were in. So I'm kind of wondering if that's the same case for this year. But if Bama loses, they're out. They are out. They win, they're in.
And it was kind of a similar situation. You came off of a
can't
multiple overtime win over Auburn.
How are you going to go from
Yeah.
8?
What'd you say, Spaz?
No, go ahead, Sean. I'm just.
Oh no, I was saying it was like that in 2021 too. You guys you guys just came off of an incredibly tight game against Auburn, right? Where you almost knock yourself out of the playoffs in that game.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of parallels.
I would not be surprised if Bama wins the SEC title this next Saturday.
I'll be honest, I give you guys like a 40% chance of winning this game. I mean, it's very live.
Jackson, do you steal some of my weed or something?
Nope.
Because you clearly must be smoking something.
I don't think either of these teams, Georgia or Alabama, looked at Auburn or Georgia Tech with any serious manner this last week. I think Alabama got more surprised by Auburn. I think Georgia took it easy on Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech, that was their Super Bowl. Georgia Tech and Auburn, both of them, that was their Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this: I don't think the very top of college football is as good as it's been the past like 3-4 years. This year, I don't think the best team the best teams are quite as good. Like Jackson, do you agree? This team is not as good. This Alabama team is not as good as the 2021 team.
Yeah, I can see that, but I think we can win.
This team is either.
Yeah, I mean we're not as good as like the 2015 or 2011 or 2012. That I can agree with.
Man,
yeah, I thought the whole year
bunch
this was like Saban's worst team since 2007. Almost the whole year, I thought this was Saban's worst team, and this might be his best coaching job of his career.
How are you gonna go from 8 to 4 when the team directly in front of you beat you in your home stadium?
No, yeah, we're not.
Because you beat
Spaz, you keep doing this. You keep jumping ahead to the point. We're not to that point yet. Because there's obviously very big arguments. I know someone's saying stuff. That's why I told you, ignore the chat. Ignore
I'm
the
not
chat.
talking about what they're talking about.
Spaz gets so riled up with the chat sometimes, and he loses.
No, I'm
his
talking
mind.
about Jackson.
What you getting riled at me for?
Georgia and go. Yeah, he said it himself. You're not going to the playoffs. Come on, Jimbo.
I mean, if Bama wins, Texas is definitely going to the playoffs as well. If Texas wins the Big 12 title, which they most certainly will. I mean, that's what's going to happen right there.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get onto that after this. I think I in this game, I don't see a clear cut. I have to be about the same as Sean. I'm giving Bama at least like 45% chance to win this because I don't think they were taking Auburn fully serious, especially after the New Mexico State loss Auburn took. I think Bama was like, we got this. We're gonna roll in here, and they found out quick, but they still pulled it out in miraculous fashion. Absolutely unbelievable, miraculous.
We're even talking about this game having any relevance because Auburn's defensive coordinator and coach was retarded.
You still have to go on the field and make that play. And the receiver was not like, why? It's not like the receiver was just standing on the goal line like, I'm open. It was he had to go up and get it, a slightly contested catch still, and get it. I mean,
but if you take it past,
this is a fundamental thought. Go ahead. Wait, is this a fundamental thought I've always had about Hail Marys in general? Why do teams rush anybody? I mean, why are you wasting bodies that could be used in coverage? I mean, if you have 11 guys, they can only run 5 eligible receivers.
They only sent 2 guys at him, so you got 9 in coverage, and he
They sent 2 and they had 1 spy.
Even worse than that, it was even dumber. They had a
spy on the nose tackle. The nose tackle was like spying Milrow for some reason. He was standing there like,
what's he going to rush for 31 yards and get to? I mean, you are wasting a body, and then you find a single coverage match. You give him 9. You give him all the time in the world. He finds the one single coverage matchup you have, and then he just throws it to that spot. If you put 11 guys back there, you put your 11 best athletes there. I don't think it's ever in a million years.
You have to have at least 2 or 3 on the line by rule of the game, or can you drop everybody into coverage?
Well, they had 3. You have to have 3 or 4, but they probably dropped everyone.
There's no rule for a defensive formation. You can have 11 guys form a picket fence at the goal line.
Regardless of it, that play. If you did that play 10 times, it only works that one time. And Alabama had to complete it, and they got it done.
And it just made the kick 6 irrelevant.
Yeah, I think that's crazier than I think that is still crazy. I think that's crazier than the kick
championship and a national championship.
This just took that over. This just put that.
They were both the Iron Bowl. Jackson, what do you think as an Alabama fan? Because honestly, I think this might override the kick 6. Now, I don't know if it overrides the Hail Mary prayer at Jordan O'Hare with Georgia and Auburn.
Living on a prayer at Jordan Hare.
Yeah, that one was still
Jordan Hare and the kick 6 happened within like 2 or 3 weeks of each other. Right?
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks of each other. I think that one's still better than the kick 6, and this one's better than the kick 6.
Well, it's like I said last week. I mean, the Iron Bowl, especially Jordan Hare, scares me, man. Like it scared. Like anytime we gotta go to Auburn, I'm freaked out because I'm thinking we could lose this game. It would have not surprised me if we won or lost either way. But I was glad that Jalen Milrow threw the game winner at 4th and 31. I mean, That was a
Yeah.
top-notch play right there. I mean, I didn't even think we were gonna make it, honestly. I was worried. I didn't think we were gonna do it, but the fact we did, I was pretty happy. I was just kind of getting my what could have been list ready for the 2023 Alabama season at that time. But
Oh, I
the
can
fact that
imagine.
Jalen Miller, I mean, imagine. Don't get mad at me, man. Like, get mad at that Auburn defense. I was just saying, that game winner to Bond, Isaiah Bond. I'll tell you what, Isaiah Bond is a name that will never be forgotten. We will never forget the name of Isaiah Bond in the history of the Iron Bowl. And as a matter of fact, in the history of Alabama Auburn football lore.
Isaiah
Yeah.
Bond's future bar tab in all of Tuscaloosa is $0.00.
Oh yeah. No, that
Yeah.
guy has that guy at least at one bar has unlimited lifetime free tab.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
I do think though picking this is the toughest game I think to pick. I have to lean Georgia a little bit just because they haven't been quite maybe as up and down, but they have been too relative to Alabama, but I think they've had a little tougher. But I do think it's like 55-45% like Georgia. I don't think it's not going to be some wild blowout. It's going to be like a 38-31 or 34-31 type of game. But I am leaning Georgia to finish another undefeated regular season and conference title.
I can see why you go with Georgia because they got the junior dog, Brock Bowers, man. He is the
If they didn't have Brock Bowers, I might kind of flip-flop those. But with having him back and apparently being okay.
Yeah, I think that'll be the difference in this game. When Georgia just needs a touchdown, I think they can get it. And I'm not Beck's much more reliable than Milroe. Milroe can make great plays, but we saw that the play before the 4th and 31. I mean, he didn't know where he was on the field.
Yeah, my concern, what is going on with these illegal forward passes? I have to touch upon this real quick because there was 3 or 4 in that game.
That third and goal, that play on 3rd and goal, that was what worried me about Alabama when Jalen Milroe went over the line of scrimmage. I was like, oh, no. I got nervous.
I've only seen most college games maybe where you have one random illegal forward pass. So when they said there was 3 to 4 in that game alone combined, I was like, what is going on? Is the line not noticeable or what is happening? It's just such a weird call. It's a rare call these days.
I don't know. I mean, it was. I mean, and he was way over that line. I mean, he ran and it was like, okay, he's going because he was about 3-4 yards, and then I watch him step back. Oh my God, he's going to throw this. He has no idea where he is, where the line of scrimmage is.
Yeah, most illegal forward passes are they're on the line, so they give them the benefit of the doubt. Their whole body's not over the line, or maybe they're just a step, barely over the line. They just kind of lost their place in the moment. But 3 to 4 in one game is almost unheard of to a degree between the teams. So that's why I was like, that's a weird stat. Okay. I guess that's the Iron Bowl for you, though. I guess that it was just one of those other oddities to happen in a game like that. Just like a 4th and goal at the 31-yard line for a touchdown to win it. I mean, Spaz, what do you think? You got Georgia, you got Bama.
I got Georgia by 10.
By 10. Okay. I 10 seems like a lot.
Not really.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess it's not.
I just think
technically.
Murrow makes too many mistakes in the end. But he could prove me wrong. He could have his wannabe Heisman moment.
Yeah.
Jackson, do you want to tell everyone to find this game this weekend?
Oh, it's gonna be on CBS 3 p.m. You
That's
know,
3
by the
p.m.
time-
Is it 3 p.m. Central?
Yep, 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Central, 4
Central.
p.m. Eastern time. I believe Alabama's going to win this game, but I do kind of wonder if we'll see two SEC teams in the playoffs if Alabama wins this next Saturday. But I do believe we'll see Texas if they win the Big 12, which I'm sure we're going to divulge into the Big 12 title in a little bit. We're going to talk about that. I am kind of curious to see if we'll see both Texas and Bama get in. Personally, I want to see Texas get in so that Bama can get revenge against them. I don't want to sit and wait till 2025. That's not happening.
That's fair. That's fair. And that's something we have to go into right now after a word from our sponsor. We have none. So moving on to the next game.
Well, we'll tell you before we move on to it. If you like exclusive live streams, watch parties, predictions, betting advice, and insider looks on all of college football, tune in to patreon.com/MarkRogersTV or become a YouTube member at the Voice of College Football, where you can get some of the best inside knowledge on each of the best games in all of college football.
That is streaming on the ticker below. Thank you, Jackson, for that advert. Thank you very much. Actually,
Ticket Smarter doesn't sponsor this show.
No one sponsors me.
Oh, we're too dangerous for a sponsor.
We're sponsorless.
Yeah. Sad people over here.
This is actually channel sponsorless.
This actually is probably one of the more.
Don't be sad. We're just rebels.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'm going to say this is probably the Big 12 championship is probably one of the more possibly intriguing and exciting matchups because despite how bad Oklahoma State has looked this season, from beating Oklahoma to getting trounced by UCF to barely beating BYU in 2 overtimes this last Saturday, Texas has not looked great at times either. Then they throttled Texas Tech. But Oklahoma State seems to get up for these games. They're that we don't know what you're going to get every weekend team. And so Oklahoma State versus Texas for the Big 12 championship. I'm actually kind of intrigued by this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson, what was Oklahoma State's score against UCF?
They got
63 to like 14.
No, it was 45-3. But
45 to 3. Nah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so between they lost to South Alabama, right? Like 33-7 or something like that.
Yeah, 33-7. And they lost to Iowa State 34-27. That was on Fox Sports 1.
Okay, but just take those two results, the South Alabama score and the UCF score. They got outscored. What would that be? Like 78-10 in those two games?
Yes, that would be 78-10, correct.
They got outscored 78-10 by South Alabama and Central Florida, and they are playing for a Big 12 championship.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
I mean, that's very
It
odd.
felt weird not seeing this game on the regular season schedule when it was announced earlier in the year. I was surprised that they didn't have that, but oh well, I guess they didn't. But then again, I was surprised by Oklahoma State not having Baylor and Texas Tech. But that's another time for another day. This is the Big 12 title game. I will say one player that has really helped Oklahoma State in this magnificent turnaround is Ollie Gordon.
Yes.
This guy is a baller. I mean,
Might win the Doak Walker. Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, he was a baller against BYU yesterday. Matter of fact, he had 5 touchdowns, 166 rushing yards, 34 carries. I mean, I hope this guy gets put in the Heisman conversation next year. Unfortunately, he's not in it this year because of, we're talking about Jaden Daniels, Bo Nitz, and Michael Penix. But I will say, watch for Gordon. If they do upset Texas and knock him out of the playoff race, and in your case, Sean, help your Buckeyes out,
Yeah.
Ollie Gordon will be a big reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I pretty
Man,
pretty satisfying to not let former Buckeye Quinn Ewers elevate Texas into the playoffs either. So
yeah, I mean, he leads the nation in rushing yards. I mean, that's pretty big in of itself. Like next year, man, he's gonna be a junior dog, man. He is gonna be one of the top junior dogs in all the Big 12. He's gonna be slicing up defenses. I mean, he's been slicing them up this year. He could slice up this Texas defense. I mean, Texas got lucky against Houston. They got lucky against K-State. They may not be so lucky against Oklahoma State.
well, Oklahoma State's produced a number of these running backs that have just sort of like put up insane numbers for a season or two. Like Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba.
Hubbard.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other ones that their names I can't remember because they never seem to go on and have like great pro careers. But I mean, they always have a potent rushing attack there in Stillwater.
I think the thing is this is in Cowboy Stadium. Texas is minus 14. That seems about right, to be honest.
I was pulling for BYU to win that game because I need Texas to lose, and I think Oklahoma is a much bigger threat than Oklahoma State, to be honest. I think Texas it might be a struggle. It might be a 2.5. It might be they start to pull away late third quarter and win by about 2 touchdowns in this and get crowned and hope for some help above because I think they need a little bit.
Yeah, personally, I have to agree. I don't think this is going to be like a blowout. I think it'll be like one of those like late fourth quarter 7-point game. Texas leads, and then they kick another field goal or score another touchdown. Just kind of
they might win by 21, but it's not like a completely dominant game, right? Might be a 21-14 game with like 7 minutes to go, and they win 35-14.
Well, and that Texas running game on defense is really good. So, I mean, they might be putting a little bit of a stop to Ollie Gordon. So, put a stop to Ollie Gordon. Alan Bowman's going to be in a lot of trouble.
So, what do you got? What do you got, Jackson? What do you think? Texas, Oklahoma State, Big 12 championship.
I think I'm going to go with the Texas Longhorns for right now, and that's going to be a 28-24 victory. And then we're going to hear those dreaded words from some of the media members on Saturday.
Well, and thinking about that too, Spaz, what do you got? What do you think? Again, number 20 Oklahoma State versus number 7 Texas. What do you think?
Probably 31-20 Texas.
So within 2 scores.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable, or even like Sean said, maybe a very late last second make it 3-score type of game. kind of thing. I think that's pretty reasonable. Oklahoma State's just been so, but so is Texas to a degree. So maybe Mike Gundy will rebuzz the mullet. It'll be a short mullet, but maybe he'll reignite that magic. The mullet magic. Can we get some mullet magic in the chat? Hashtag mullet magic.
Man, I wouldn't be if they can beat Texas to get us into the playoffs. I would almost be willing.
You've got.
I've got the length right now.
We're gonna get there. There are. Oh, you do have a decent length to get the mullet going. Mike Gundy's a little short. Oh, there we go. This is in front. Mullet magic. There we go. I like that. But once again, before the showcase title game, can we have another moment of silence for the final Pac-12 championship for the known era? All right, we're good. Anyways, yeah. So we got Oregon rematching against Washington. What does everyone got in this game? Because right now the line is -9.5 for Oregon.
That's gonna
That is absolutely insane. I mean, like just when you think about it, it's not insane based on like what we've seen the past 2 months, but I mean, one team beat the other team already this season.
Well, I
And
guess you have to remember that game. You have to remember that game. Washington at home was only -3, and they won by 3. Now neutral site, Oregon's -9.5.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you guys have both won every game since, and and all of a sudden you're almost a double-digit favorite.
2014, Oregon loses to Arizona. 37-13, I think something. It was like
No,
it was
not that bad. No, not that bad. It was like
Wasn't
36-31, something like that.
okay, and then we faced them in the championship later and won like what was it 39
that was like 56
50
or 52
something
to
like
13.
the same
crushed
team that beat us 6 weeks earlier. That was the year we lost the championship game to Cam Newton.
Ohio State. No, that was Ohio State 2014.
That was the year you guys beat us.
Yeah, that was Ohio State after we crushed Florida State. This is why I've said this year feels like right now 2014, because Bo Nix, whatever people think, they can call him screen pass Bo, they can call him check down Bo, whatever. His completion percentage is about to set the NCAA FBS record in completions. He's already made several stats at Oregon all-time record books as number 1. And this game, if he just has a good game and they just win, he's already locked the Heisman. I know people will talk about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is left in the game to run up the stats. Unfortunately, but I think what is this year just feels like that. Bo is number 1 right now, like Mariota kind of was going into championship weekend. He just needs to lock it down. Oregon gets revenge over their loss and moves on to the college football playoff. It just kind of feels like 2014 all over again to a degree.
And Bo also has an extra week game where Daniels doesn't. So that's what's going to kill Daniels.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point about Bo Nix leading the nation in passing yards, he is leading the nation with 3,906 yards.
Well, not passing yards, completion percentage.
Completion percentage. Well, he is at
completion
that.
percentage.
He's
not
about
yards. Yeah,
at the NCAA record. I think he's at 79.3 right now.
78.6.
Okay.
What is the last completion percentage record? Is 77.3.
I believe
Something like that.
76, 77 was
76 or 77, somewhere in that range. Something like that.
Who was that? Like, I remember some of those early Leach offenses. Like they never threw
That was
the
I think
ball
that was
away.
Was that Mac Jones that actually had
Yeah,
that completion
was
record?
Mac Jones.
Was it Mac Jones?
He was only the starter like for that COVID season, right?
Yeah,
See,
I
they
mean,
But he
But
played. But he played the
He
whole
played like
year. He
12
played all the
games,
games,
12
so
games. Yeah.
it's not like he only
He
played
played
5
like a full
games or
season.
something.
Yeah.
It's a bust over in New England.
He's
Which
not a
is
guy that
shocking.
can carry an NFL team. I mean, he's just not.
Yeah.
Which is it's actually shocking because he was actually the most seemed like pro style, just good to go for a Belichick system.
he's horrible.
I know, but I'm a little surprised. I thought he was actually
Yeah.
going to do fairly well. I thought he'd be like
And-
plug and play.
he did do fairly well to start. It's just like he didn't have anywhere to develop. I mean, like just when you drafted him, what you got was what you're going to get. It was like, he's as good as he'll ever be. He doesn't have any special tools that can, elevate.
I have no idea, Josephine. I have no idea. Yeah, she's asking the question, why are your walls crooked? I'm just like, I don't have
I don't know. Is she on acid or something?
I don't know. It's just a random
His walls
question.
get crooked to me when I start tripping out too. So
It's like everyone. When I first got this camera and I moved into this room and I put up this whole office, everyone's like, except for that crooked photo. And knowing my OCD,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh hell no!
No.
I level
No,
everything. It's just the
my,
camera, the way it's centered, it makes things look crooked.
yeah. My kitchen was actually designed by MC Escher here. So
Oh, damn it.
Oh god.
I see Ben's, but you can't see mine because it's directly behind me.
So, what are we thinking of this game? Because obviously, again, this is the final Pac-12 championship game. How fitting it is to have a rematch of Oregon versus Washington in one of at least probably top 5 or 6 games of the year this year. And Oregon losing it at the last second with multiple chances to seal it and then even still put it away before losing it. And
no. So Washington.
this is a playoff game. This is a playoff game, straight up, no matter what.
Yeah, Washington is. God, they're so they were so dependent early in the year. They wowed so many people with. I mean, they're just a very 9-route post heavy offense, and they just freaking gutted so many teams. With Penix just standing back and ripping it deep to his receivers. And that just hasn't quite worked. They've had to find other ways to win. It's worked, but it's been ugly. I mean, they haven't looked like every week. They don't look like a great team. They just kind of find a little way to win. And I just don't think that's enough against Oregon now.
Yeah, and I want Spaz and of course Jackson to get in here. I do want to say I forgive Washington for that, like the Beaver win, 22-20, because that weather was just. That was a nasty game, start to finish.
That was
still found a way to win.
That was probably their most impressive win of the season outside of the Oregon win. Because they're not built to win in a situation like that at all.
What win was that?
Or Washington, Oregon State.
Oh,
Last week.
Yeah. And that was in the worst kind of fucking weather you could have too.
Yeah, so I give them a pass in the sense of offense on that side. The fact they got shut out in the second half and still won it says a lot. That's how teams have to win. You have to have an ugly game. You do have to have an ugly game, just like Alabama, Auburn, Georgia Tech. You have to have an ugly game here and there. You're going to.
Man, between these Michigan, I don't know what I want to call them.
Let it out. Let it out.
Delusionals. All I know is that a lot of people do not understand, and that's why I'm so glad that Michigan World Guy or whoever you are, that yeah, we get to see you guys in the next year and a few more, and we get to put to bed all these delusional Midwest Southern guys that nobody in the West can compete with their teams year after year. Blah, 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 blah. What happened to the last time we went into Ann Arbor? And what happened to the last time we went into the shoe? You can ask Mr. Sean down there all about Oregon at the shoe a few years ago.
Well,
Oh,
I,
man.
I fondly remember. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I fondly remember your last trip to Ann Arbor. That was that the Dennis Dixon?
Yeah.
That was
Jonathan,
the two Statue of Liberties.
Yeah, Statue of Liberties in the
that was the week that was the week after the Appalachian State.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That was a glorious time in my life. Thanks for bringing that one up.
Oh man, I remember Dennis
the other one was
Dixon
in like
did the
20
little Statue of
ancient times in
Liberty
2021
against
or something
Michigan.
like
I
that.
remember that. That was a great play.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I
But
tell
don't
you,
make me harp on the first college football playoff national championship ever.
no.
I think
See,
Brad
we're,
Nessler.
we're 1-1 right there, you know. But these Michigan guys would be.
You know what's interesting between our two schools? We played in the first college. Jackson will love this one. We played in the very first college football playoff national championship ever. And we also played in the first NCAA tournament championship game ever.
Wow.
I think it was back in like 1940.
1939, Oregon won. Oregon won the first men's basketball tournament, even though it doesn't technically count, but it counts.
Yeah.
So we're 1-1
Michigan,
there too.
Michigan gets to count a national championship from 1939 for football. We get to count the damn basketball championship from 1939 also. Even though it was like 8 games or something like that.
Oz was out in theaters.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, these Go Blue and this other guy over here that's here every week, man, he's the Michigan guy, and Gavin. You guys are so delusional. Michigan versus the world, yeah. Oh, stop.
All right. All right. Back to what we're talking about here. Neutral field, Oregon -9.5 right now, or at least 9 to 10, depending on where you look. Who do you guys got in this game? Spaz, just go on a rant for a second, and then we'll get to Jackson and Sean. Who do you got? I think I know the answer.
Also, the other thing about this game to keep in mind is
yes,
Michael Penix is hurt. He has
now.
Is he actually hurt?
He
has a broken rib.
Ooh.
It was
he has not looked right for the past couple weeks. I mean,
and he had
line is up for Michigan.
I called it. If you
that actually makes sense.
The Apple Cup, they're walking him off the field with the guy under his arm like this. He's in the jacket. He's all bundled up, and they're holding his arm and walking him into the tunnel.
And that's fair, because when Washington State was kicking, or when Washington was kicking the final field goal to win the game, Penix was kind of in the little cart, like not wanting to watch. And I understand a lot of players don't want to watch. They're like, you know what, I don't want to look. I don't want to jinx this. But apparently, he was not feeling right. Apparently, I just haven't seen any details.
That yesterday. he was puking right then. And then they carried him off the field. And the reason he was puking was 2 plays before that field goal, he got sacked and got crunched. And that's where he fucked the rib. And they weren't sure what was up until after the game. But you could clearly see at the end of the game after the field goal, they're waiting like 5 minutes, and they finally put the jacket thing on it. When the quarterback gets hurt or whatever,
Yeah.
they put
that. Well, it's also for cold, just for cold. I mean, it's cold.
Yeah, they put that on him, and they had like a trainer or medical personnel slowly, like 5 minutes later, walking him off the field. And nobody said a word. The announcers, nobody. But the cameras were dead on it, and you knew something was up.
They did. The cameras were on it, and it was funny too. And not to mention another podcast, but I'm sure a lot of people here watch Unnecessary Roughness. They were like, "I think he had the flu." It's like, how many damn times can you have the flu in one season?
No, and that's been the book on him his entire career. I mean,
Injuries.
when he was at Indiana, he was he was spectacular there too. I mean, just like he could never.
But he couldn't stay healthy. Yeah,
stay healthy.
I do think that this is. I want to get to projections here, and we'll move on our final segment here. But I do think that Washington did not want to have to face Oregon again. But then again, it was Oregon or Arizona, and neither of those are good options. Neither of those were great options.
One of them significantly less painful than the other, and they got the more painful one.
Yeah.
So
Arizona, you probably only have to worry about their defense a little bit, but with Oregon, you got to worry about both sides of the ball, and Washington already knows that.
So Spaz, who are you taking? What's your potential prediction? You don't have to give a score prediction necessarily, but who are you taking? And
I say 31-13 Oregon.
Okay. Well, 31-13 Oregon
has a fucked up rib, and it only has 6 days to play with a fucked up rib. That's
gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt to throw on.
Even if even if it's just a bruised rib or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt to throw. And if he gets hit once or twice, it's gonna hurt even more.
This defensive line, he's in trouble.
Jackson, what do you got? What are you thinking?
Well, right now, I'm thinking this is a toss-up for me, but I'll know more by Thursday. That is all I can say for right now.
You scum. Saving it for the Jacksonian.
Nope.
Scum.
Oh, so we doing it Thursday, Jackson?
He's here for promotional reasons only. That's
nope.
Are we doing an episode on Thursday, Jackson? What you're saying?
Well, don't know yet. Anything can happen.
I don't know who is Washington's backup real fast. I have no idea. I have no idea. He hasn't seen the field. He hasn't even seen the field hardly.
Their starter from 2 seasons ago. He's still there.
Morris,
is he? I thought he left.
Dylan Morris. No, he didn't leave.
Oh, he is still there. Okay. I thought he left. So that's why I was like,
transferred.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's the great thing about being kind of asses. No one wants you, and you can just stay there. You have no decisions to make.
That's curious. I didn't know. That was a good question. I didn't know if he was still there or not. I thought he left after Jimmy Lake.
Yeah.
What do you got, Sean, in this game? Oregon, Washington, the rematch.
I sort of have a feeling, especially if Penix is really like seriously hurt, this can get pretty ugly. Like this could be a rerun of Black Friday here, and we could be seeing, I'm gonna go Oregon 42-14 here. I think this could get bad. Yeah. And like I've been spending a lot of because like this is just the just the generic take now is that Oregon has become way better than Washington, but I just think it's true. I mean, I don't see any area of the game where Washington's really excellent right now, and they've been getting by with chicken wire and duct tape, and I think it could really come all falling apart this week.
Well, we will. Spaz and I will have our in-depth preview Tuesday night with the Oregon Live show, where we hope to have Sergeant Pickles, who is a regular viewer here on the Voice of College Football, but he's a UW fan, a Husky fan. Get a little more insight. I'm not going to give a score prediction. I'm predicting Oregon to win this rematch, but people who just say you lost the first time, remember, Oregon outgained them over 100 yards and just didn't score 3 times and still had a chance to ice it at the end on a 4th down. And they couldn't do it. It was the wrong play calling. Both Lanning and Stein said it. Just bad play calling on our part. Not the team, just our part. Oregon should have probably won that one. They didn't. They took the L. Now it's just time to get the revenge, get the win. And sorry, Texas fans, Oregon's been ahead of you the entire season, basically. Even with that loss.
I mean,
that's how much the committee respects Oregon and Washington. So
yeah.
You're not jumping us. If we beat Washington and you win, you're not jumping us.
I mean, it is hard for Oregon to really make the argument over Texas. I mean, if they beat it, I mean, Texas has a monster win. Like, if Texas wins and Alabama wins, how do you leave Texas out under any circumstance?
It's tough. I mean, this is the problem this year, and that's why. This is a great intro into our final topic of the night is the likely top 6 rankings this Tuesday for the CFP. This one doesn't matter necessarily, but this one's going to tell us a lot more about the final weekend in the championship games of where the committee ranks people. So you look at Oregon. Oregon is projected to be number 5 or 6 still. Washington probably number 4. So point is Texas beating a number 20 ranked Oklahoma State-ish compared to Oregon beating a number 4 ranked Washington. Who do you think's going in? It's going to be Oregon. That's why I say Texas fans need to get over it. I'm sorry, you're not jumping Oregon.
I mean, I think it's a lot tighter than you.
I think it's tight. It's tight.
The problem is if you are already ahead of them, they're going to have a very marginal win over a pretty mediocre Oklahoma State team, and you're going to have a win over an undefeated, top 4 team in the country.
Well, I think they're taking into account the committee this year. The committee's taking eye tests too into account this year. They're going over average amount of weeks. This team's looked 10 times better, and people would say Oregon's played garbage teams. Whatever. Oregon's done what they need to do to garbage teams and dismantle them. Dismantle them. So yeah. I don't think there's going to be a lot of change this week. I think it's going to stay relatively the same. I think it's going to be Georgia or Michigan. Michigan might even jump to number 1 just with the win over Ohio State because of number 2, number 3. But it's going to be like Michigan, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. I don't think you're going to see much change in the top 6, 7, even 8. Louisville's going to drop, obviously, after a loss from 10, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of change this week.
I mean, it'll be really, really interesting. I mean, Texas won by 50 against
Texas Tech,
a very, very middling opponent.
Which I hate to say, I can't stand watching Twitter because I think everyone's seen it. Maybe is that they're like, Oregon beat Texas Tech 38-30. Texas just beat them 56-7. Different quarterback at home. Oregon had to take on Shuck, where they had a quarterback run game and on the road.
They still had
Different
their
teams.
And it was in September.
Different teams week 2. Different teams. So don't give me that. You can't use the transitive property. I know a lot of us as football fans like to use that, but you can't do that in football. It just doesn't work.
New Mexico State's clearly a better team than Alabama because they handled Auburn much better, right? It's a completely silly justification, but it is interesting though. Oregon doesn't have that many good wins though. Their best win was against an 8-4 Oregon State team.
Well, and I'd like to rob this too, and I know Spaz is going to probably back this up immediately. I want to get this out because I've been very quiet. I have not argued with people about something. One thing I always hate, and sorry, Jackson, you're going to really hate to hear this, is that I hate, say like an Alabama in the past or a Georgia would be like, they have 8 wins against top 25 teams. 7 of those are not ranked anymore, but they still say they won 8 against top 25 teams. Oregon has beat top 25 teams and demolished them, but now only 1 or 2 are ranked. So like they only have 1 win over a ranked. Like no.
But you beat Colorado when Colorado was still ranked, right?
And we whooped that damn. We broke Colorado.
Colorado would have been 9-3 and heading off to the Sun Bowl or something.
We broke them.
If they didn't run into the Ducks,
Yeah, it's just one of those transitive things again, where it's like if they're not ranked anymore, it doesn't count, but in other teams it does. I hate that.
We beat 4 ranked teams when we played them this year, all in our conference. Has any other top 5 team beaten 4 ranked teams within their own conference this season?
4 teams that are
Georgia, I think.
ranked at the time, right?
4 teams that were ranked when they played them. Has any other top 5 team done that this season? They were all conference opponents.
Probably Georgia. You'd have to go back and look week by week.
The SEC East isn't that good. The SEC East.
Georgia did beat a 10-win Missouri team. They did beat
that was a good win. That's a good win. That is a very good win.
Tennessee
was ranked still,
but they were still ranked.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So
this is an interesting look back for next week. If we can go back in the schedule, because I think if you go back each week, they still show the old rankings.
Kentucky's just blown up, but they beat Louisville, so that's good for Georgia.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah. That's an interesting thing. This week, I'm going to have to go back and look because I think, again, ESPN, if you go week by week, I think it still shows the old rankings of those teams at that point.
It does.
So that would actually be a good thing to look at maybe this next week. But this next week, we have to deal with bowl season.
Next week, we'll have the finale, too.
Yeah, we'll have bowl selection already because Sunday's bowl selection, right?
We'll know who's in the CFP by the time this show airs. Because I think, isn't it Sunday morning?
At least mid-afternoon or something like that.
Sunday at noon.
Okay, Sunday at noon, yeah. So by the time this show airs, we'll have all the bowls and the CFP set.
I'm excited thinking about who's going to be in all the bowls. That's going to be fun right there.
So this is going to be a bowl season. I don't care. Even with the 12-team playoff, bowl season, no matter what anyone thinks, bowl season is one of the greatest times of the year because you get to see these different matchups in just random locations and see the fan bases travel to go, cheer on their team. Even if the stadium's half empty, who cares? Watch these teams play. They work their ass off in the spring, in the fall, during the summer.
Thanks, George.
So I don't know if you guys follow college football nerds, on Twitter, or if you follow their work at all. Yeah. Okay. So they put out a post today, and it gave a fairly compelling argument for why Ohio State should be ranked ahead of Oregon right now. And that's this isn't me advocating for why Ohio State should get into the playoff. I mean I feel like we lost our chance, but sort of the thesis of this whole statement is that there's basically no reason whatsoever to schedule big out of conference games. All you do is expose yourself to the risk of a loss, and that just does so much damage to you. And it's
Everything
it's an argument I've been
scheduled.
making forever. Like this, I hate the fact that just college football rewards you for playing nobody.
It
I
needs
know,
to. It needs to
right?
be. It needs. This has been argued for, I think, for years. And Mark got on us last week. I think you remember seeing it. I think you were here, where it was like no team in the right mind will play another Power 5 team for no benefit at all to themselves to take a loss. And I get that. I think it's if everyone's at least equal.
He said no team's going to schedule 2 Power 5 out of conference opponents ever again.
Something
They
like that,
should.
yeah,
They
and something like
should
that. I mean,
Yeah.
if someone's going to, everyone should have to do the same. You know, either
Right.
one FCS, one Group of 5, one Power 5,
No,
across the board,
Mhm.
nine conference games. I know the SEC is going to be like, no, we have to have our FCS game in late November.
Yeah.
Jackson,
Yeah,
and Chattanooga's and stuff, but
didn't know about
you
it
know.
too. He's like, he agrees.
But-
We shouldn't play the cupcakes.
But even the Big Ten
I
does
don't
it
like
too. I mean,
this.
look at Penn State. They
everyone
just
does
did
it.
what? Who did they play? Rhode Island or some shit or something like that. And
We
You know, I
fucking
mean,
played Portland
Massachusetts
State.
or whoever it was.
They played UMass.
UMass.
Portland State and Hawaii. Come on.
I'll because it's like I'll be honest, when the cupcake games are on, I don't even want to watch. I only watch 1 minute of it. I turn it on to another
Yeah.
game.
Well,
I
see,
I
and,
hate the cupcake
first
games.
half.
I hate them.
I'll watch them when there's the first like 2 to 3 weeks of the season because you're watching your team kind of warm up. But after that, when
Right.
you get into conference play, you don't want to go out of conference unless you're playing like, say, like a Notre Dame playing Stanford playing Notre Dame, or a USC playing Notre Dame, like stuff like that.
That's a different.
I don't want to see Oregon play, Portland State or Eastern Washington in week 10.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to see that.
The
I don't
SEC's made a
want to see
ritual of it.
I don't want to see cupcake FCS opponents game at any point of the season. I want to see more tough non-con games because it brings out more people to watch college football.
So Jackson, I don't want to bring up the fact that a lot of these schools are able to subsidize their athletic departments for an entire year by taking one of these games. Tennessee State or Tennessee Martin schedules Georgia. Okay, they don't have to worry about fundraising the entire rest of the year.
What if we made the FCS games the spring games? What if we did that instead?
People have talked about that. People have talked about that. I think it's just not a preparation. I could see at least the first game of the year or second game. So say the first game of the year you open with a Power 5 team, like Alabama, Texas. And then your second week you get Tennessee Martin. And then after that, though, you get like another actual Group of 5, and then your regular schedule, and you move on. I think that'd be okay because I think it is still important. I get it with Jason here, but exactly, you are also helping subsidize those teams' athletic programs and all the money they invest into that program. You're helping to keep them going. So I don't like to entirely eliminate it, but it's just the mid-season, late in the season kind of bye week where literally you can just sit your starters, because every team goes through injuries. Every team has injuries.
I want my rivalry game or whatnot, like then maybe,
And I think that's what. I think
give me that
why
Oregon State game in week 10.
We just lost a receiver in the Oregon State game on Friday. We just lost one of our wide receivers because of a broken ankle or broken leg. He's out. I mean, we lost him.
Well,
I mean,
no. Actually, that report came in today that even after hobbling off on crutches,
he's
Harry
okay.
Bryant Jr. said he's good to go. He'll be ready to go Friday.
Oh, well.
But Jaleel Lawrence is out.
Fuck. Well, Manning did okay. But, I mean, the point is, that was why Oregon called off the Dogs in that game, is because after Bryant went out, they went, it's not worth at this point risking another injury. That's why they called off the Dogs. But anyways, the point is, I'd rather see, there's no point in doing late season. Shit, every team has injuries. Everyone's going to get injured. All teams are dinged up, banged up. You shouldn't have a game where you sit your starters, basically, to rest. This isn't the NFL where, like, we made the playoffs, sit the starters and take the loss.
I may get that way with that 12-team playoff
No,
next year. So.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I mean, this is what you get when you don't have any central authority governing the sport, and you just leave it up to 130 institutions to act in their own best interest.
There's that. Well, I will say, we need to equalize this shit, though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. How do I spell this shit? I have to Google something really quickly. Spaz, run your mouth for a second.
SHIT.
No.
So, what do you guys think of some of the names that have came into the transfer portal recently? Jackson, you know a couple of them because they came from your conference already.
Right. About transfer portal?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to let you do what you got to do. That's just
where do you think Will Rogers ends up?
That's a good question. I really don't know, but I would like to see him end up in, let's see. I'd love to see if he could play somewhere in the SEC or the Big Ten. I mean, just stay in SEC country.
So you think he wants to? Do you think he'll want to stay there? Or do you think he wants to get far away from the SEC drama?
That could be. He could want to get away from the SEC drama. I mean, I would like to see him go to USC, see if Lincoln Riley can make him the Nets' top 5 draft pick or something. I would love to see that happen. I know that's not going to happen because, I mean, USC's already got their future quarterback in Malachi Nelson, but it would be nice, though.
Yeah.
Or maybe he goes to Michigan. Or Oregon, for that matter.
Michigan's
there was some talk today about
quarterback situation after this year. JJ McCarthy walked with the seniors at senior day, basically indicating he's not coming back.
Yeah, rumor right now he's I believe he's isn't it you that's Patriots? Sean, aren't you the Patriots guy?
Patriots?
Yeah.
Is he a Patriots? I mean, I don't know where he'll go in the draft. I suspect it's lower than people are saying right now. I don't know.
I mean, right now they got him projected top 10.
Some places do, some don't. I think this quarterback class is so weird because you've got two clear guys at the very. You've got 2 clear guys at the very top. You got Caleb Williams, Drake May. They're probably going to go 1-2 in the draft, and then after that.
You got Caleb, or you got
you got
Bo,
you've got Nix, Penix.
It's a solid QB class.
McCarthy, you've got McCarthy, you've got Ewers.
Yeah, they're saying they could be 6.
Ewers is coming back next year.
He is.
He said he's coming back.
Ewers is coming back.
Yeah, because he keeps getting injured. He can't finish a year. So I mean, his draft stock. I know the potential. But I think he's like, yeah, but I could be better because he keeps getting injured.
And he shouldn't even be eligible anyway. He reclassified.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd be eligible anyways, but
I mean, he was supposed to
Well,
be in
hey,
that
look
2022
at
class.
Cam Rising's going to be 27 next year in his 7th.
yeah, but
year
Ewers has only been there like technically 2.
No, I'm talking
Yeah,
Cam Rising.
Ewers has
No,
been at
I know
Texas
Cam Rising,
too.
but I'm saying Ewers. We're talking Ewers.
He was at Ohio State. He reclassified and joined Ohio State's program
Yeah.
in 2021.
So technically, he was only a sophomore finishing his second year.
Yeah, he was supposed to still be in high school that year. Yeah, he should be a sophomore. So, yeah, but think about this. Like Kyle McCord is going into his last year of eligibility. He'll be 21. And Cam Rising will be 27. And they'll both be in their last year of eligibility.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wild world we live in.
No, that's not true, Ralph. Nix is only 23.
Yeah.
Nix is only 23. Just because he's married doesn't mean he's 26
is
years
only
old.
20.
And he's only Penix is 24, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone who's like,
they said before he
Nick's
has to
40. I'm like, no, he's only 23. He's not that old. He's just been in college a while, but he's not that old, actually.
He was a true freshman. Like he was an absolute true freshman when he played you guys in
2018.
Yeah. True freshman.
2019, I think it was.
No,
right?
2019. Yeah, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not that old. He's not that old. I mean, the COVID year makes everyone feel like they're a lot older or seem like it.
Graduate college anyways after a 4-year degree, because most of them are 18, some of them are 19 by the time they start college, fellas.
Yeah. I mean, what would you guys do if you were a college quarterback or a college player and say you were a graduate, you got your degree, you had a year of eligibility left? Would you transfer somewhere or just stay at your school no matter what? It doesn't matter whichever option you do. All you have to fucking do is take like one class a day and then just study football.
Yeah,
I
but
would
if
take the college.
I'm number 7 on the depth chart.
Well, not if you're 7th or 8th,
or USC.
But with NIL, if you could be making $100,000 a year to just do one class a year and play football, you're going to take that to up your draft stock.
Yeah, no. I was wondering that.
And Nix is worth about, what they say, $1.2 million.
I think
NIL?
so.
I think somewhere around there, $1.2 million. And all he does one class, like one class. That's it. He's graduated. He's done. I mean,
I'm with you.
Matt Leinart was taking like ballroom dancing as his one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you literally just have to do it like an elective or some shit, or a writing class or something like that.
And you know that Cam Ward has a year of eligibility left, right?
No, I don't want Cam Ward. I do not want Cam Ward.
Really?
David, no, I don't want Cam Ward.
Totally dual threat.
He is.
You'd rather ride
he's too short. He's too short. He's too short. He's not even Vernon Adams good. He's just too short. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know. With our O line, maybe he would be a lot better. I will say that.
Zigzag everywhere, man, with this O line.
His throws are. I don't know. I mean, if he came, if we brought him in, I would be happy to have him. But at this moment, I think there's better options.
I mean, yeah, I think he's.
Oregon needs to go after Cam Rising. Oregon needs to go after Cam Rising, and we need to try to take him away from Utah.
Oh fuck!
So I haven't checked. Like, are your guys' QB options not good going into next year?
Yeah, they're just not proven.
Unknown, yeah, unknown.
This is what his second year.
This will be his third year coming in. Yeah, this next year will be like his third year.
Yeah, he's already been 2 years backing up, and just when he's gotten his shot in the spring games and in the early games, he just does not seem to have a grasp of the system very well.
But then we have the backup Novosad, who we took from Baylor. Then we have a couple other quarterbacks. We really need 1 year bridge because then we'll have a Keely Smith Jr. coming in. Oregon's
that-
former quarterback son in 25.
No,
We'll have him coming in.
Wait, like legitimately, Kelly Smith has a son who's
Yes, he's a five.
Yeah,
he's a 5-star, right?
five-star
He's a
quarterback.
5-star. We have him in 25. coming in.
Yeah, he'll be coming in year after next.
I'll just say he better not get drafted by the Bengals.
There's some teams that no quarterback wants to go to because they're like, our career will be over. The Jets, the Bengals.
Well, Joe Burrow, despite he's having, but I mean, no, that
he went
name.
on the IL today. I saw that.
No, being from Southwest Ohio, that name gives me nightmares. Achilles Smith. Oh. I have a different experience than you got with them than you guys do, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's 2025 though. We have a year.
When he went next level, he fucking shit all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a year though. We need a stopgap. So if we had to take Cam Ward, kind of like Vernon Adams for a year, and Vernon Adams was fucking amazing. So if Cam Ward could be anything like Vernon Adams was, I mean, yeah.
That 1 year. Yeah, exactly.
I'll take him.
Yeah. With what we got coming back and what we got coming in, I would take somebody like Cam Ward. Absolutely. I'd take him over Arch Manning because he's
I would
proven.
too.
You would take Cam. Oh man,
I would because he's already proven. You know what you got. You know what he can do.
I know the name.
But you know that's not going to be like amazing. That's going to be great. That's going to be very limited. I mean, he has shown the last half of the year he's not the same quarterback once you figure out that he can't really threaten the whole field. Like he
lit up Washington yesterday. Should have won that game.
21 points. And Washington's defense is.
He went up and down the field on him.
Ralph, you be quiet over there. We're not taking Tyler Shuck
He
back.
threw for
and that's not how you
a better game than Penix. That's for damn sure.
No, we're not taking Tyler Shuck back. That is not happening.
No, we're not taking Tyler Shuck back. God.
No, I would imagine Devin Brown's going to hit the transfer portal from Ohio State, and he was a 4-star guy.
There are going to be options. We're going to have like a one of our after dark shows here will be a portal, almost Porter spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even get confetti and be like, just for the hell of it. Because as soon as the season's over, after championship games, especially bowl game selections, we're gonna see a lot of names pop into those.
I just said, fucking Tony.
No.
Oh, you don't miss shit, Tony.
Tony, you're lucky. I'm timing Tony out. He's out of control. I'm timing you out of the chat, Tony.
Okay, do we have any other topics to get?
No, we do not. We have no topics, and we are almost running on our record length of a show, even though I said, please, let's get this shit over with tonight early. We are now almost on a record length for this show with only 4 of us.
But we've had a great show, I think.
Yeah. We originally had 6, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So.
Oh,
Hey,
yes. Please nominate me exploring with Ben and Sam for SAR of the NCAA. I will make sure all these schedules get evened out. There will be no cupcake games late in November and 9 conference games per conference because this 8, 9, that's crap. Everyone's going to be equal, damn it.
See, we still have people wanting us to go.
Oh,
That's
comrades,
I'm timing you out, Tony. I'm tired of your attitude tonight. I'm kidding. I'm not timing Tony out. Tony's a Duck fan. I'm not going to time him out. Gentlemen, any final thoughts on this last weekend and or upcoming championship games, especially obviously for your specific teams, except for you, Sean, because you will be sitting on the couch doing nothing. I mean, you can give a final thought on this last weekend, but you have nothing upcoming this weekend, unfortunately.
No. Me.
No.
It's.
Mark,
I wish I even had like an anti-sweat interest, but I have zero interest in watching Iowa play football. Most really, for any reason, and yeah, it sucks. It blows. I mean, well, this. I mean, like it just. It. I mean, we're gonna see. I mean, honestly, maybe the best Buckeye that I've ever seen, the best player in Ohio State history of my lifetime, go 0-3 against Michigan and never get. I mean, get knocked after getting knocked out of the game, the semifinals last season. I mean, just it's brutal. This could have been a great end to the season, and now it's just going to kind of. I get to just hope somebody else ruins the fun of the cheaters. So you guys have my support right now. I'm all in on the Ducks right now. I don't have any faith in the Noles. Jackson, that includes you too. I would love to see a Final Four with the cheaters. Georgia, Oregon, and Alabama, because I have a feeling Michigan, the way they are, they're going to luck into playing Florida State first round, like they lucked into playing TCU first round last year. Oh, that didn't work out so well for them. But they'll luck into playing a team that shouldn't be there. So, but no, I don't know.
unless it's FSU.
I'm rambling completely here. But
Unless it's FSU. If it's FSU, they're like the TCU last year, kind of.
Yeah,
but
they are
still better. I think they're still better than the TCU team last year.
Yeah, they're more talented. They've got more top end guys, but I mean, they've shown vulnerabilities this year, and Michigan does have a good team. I have to admit that. I mean, but it's brutal, and honestly. We're going to we're probably going to go to the Orange Bowl. I don't know exactly who we're slated to face, but I hope nobody that has any NFL draft stock or is leaving for the NFL plays that game. Because
I got a feeling if Ohio State is not in the playoffs, you're going to see a lot of opt-outs.
Oh, yeah.
Before they play
I hope so. I hope we do. There's no reason for them to play, and they don't really provide it. Them playing in those games doesn't provide a lot of benefit to Ohio State.
If it's a New Year's Six game?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'd rather see we've got talented enough players to represent well behind these guys.
Oh, so, you'd rather see like some of your second, third stringers just get.
Remember they did that in the Rose Bowl against Utah.
Cade Stover, JT Tuimalau. Thank you for your service. We don't need you anymore.
There it is.
They have 5 opt-outs. They'll have more, I think, in this New Year's Six game. They will, So, I appreciate everything you guys have done, but I want to see the players that have a future at Ohio State show what they can do. I don't care if we lose that game. I don't. So I mean,
although those are your
I'm not gonna say like, I'll be cheering for you guys, but it's like I'd rather I don't want to see these players. Risk their futures, for this game, for a game like that. It just,
luckily, most of them have insurance. Most of the big players, they have insurance. The university, a lot of the big universities,
you don't want to play for a top 5 preseason rank.
What was that?
You don't want to play for a top 5 preseason rank.
They're still going to get a top 5 preseason rank, probably. What are you talking about?
It's Ohio State. Just the brand name.
Yeah, that's like automatic almost. At least top 10. They're going to get top 10. At least top 10 rank. I mean, Jackson.
Actually, Sean, I want to ask you one. because we
Jesus
before
Christ. Okay, ask a question. Ask a question. Then Jackson, give us your final thoughts here, but ask a question, Spaz. Jesus.
yesterday on that interception touchdown, being just what was your feel on that? Was it
Oh, are you talking about the catch
on
where
either way?
Roman Wilson from Michigan had it and then it got pulled away from him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm glad you asked that. I thought I was going to have to talk about this because I thought we were going to talk about the Michigan Ohio State game. Believe it or not, we didn't somehow. But no, my whole thought on that was when I saw like 3 replays of it, I didn't feel like Roman Wilson from Michigan ever really firmly had possession of the ball. I thought that it was an interception, but I would have never in a million years, I would have never overturned the call on the field because it was that
whatever the call on the you would have gone with the call on the field too.
Absolutely. It would have been like a superhuman officiating effort to recognize that Wilson never had the ball. But if you watch a few different replays, it didn't look like he ever really established possession of it. So yeah, I mean, it was a heck of a throw by McCarthy, and it was, yeah. I mean, if you watch that play from beginning to end, it was really good football all around. I mean, we got great pressure. McCarthy delivered a bullet, under.
Yeah, I thought they were saying initially that maybe it could have been. They thought maybe it could have been an equal catch, and then the announcers were like, "Well, but then even if it's an equal catch, it still goes to the offense."
But I'm a purist when it comes to review. When you're starting to ask questions like this, you don't have enough to overturn the call.
You have to go with whatever was called on the field, right?
It's like replay was designed to correct obvious errors. That wasn't one.
Right. Okay, good. Yeah, I was just curious about it. I was thrown off doing we weren't going to really talk about most of the games and stuff. So yeah. But I figured we got a chance. I'd ask that.
Okay, Jackson, final thoughts.
Well, final thoughts. I was pretty nervous on 4th and 31. I'm not going to lie. I was super nervous when that was happening. I was pretty happy that Bama won. But I think Alabama and Georgia are going to bring out their best A game against one another this next Saturday in the SEC title game. It's going to be a tremendous game regardless of who wins. And I will say Ohio State needs Bama to lose. They need Texas to lose. And they need Louisville to pull off the upset over Florida State. So I think we could be in for another year of Ohio State getting into the playoffs for a second straight year due to some magic happening in conference championship week.
See, last year going into this week, all we needed was Utah to beat USC. That was it. That was legitimately done.
Yeah.
And this year we need 3 things to happen. One's probably kind of likely, the Georgia beating Bama. The other 2 are not amazingly hopeful. So yeah, it would be a difficult parlay to pull.
But things can
I
happen.
would say Jackson. I don't even know if nervous. I wouldn't even have been nervous on 4th and 31. I would have just been resigned. Just been like, oh, this isn't happening. And then, I would have been nervous a few plays before that, and then at that point, it's like, oh, we just lost the game.
Yeah.
And then you didn't.
But I kind of can't help but feel that if Bama wins and if Texas wins, we're definitely going to see Texas and Bama get in. And we could see quite a debate between Texas and Oregon if Oregon wins the Pac-12 title next Friday. I mean, it's going to be quite a debate over who should get the higher seed because Texas is going to be like, we beat Texas Tech by way more than 8.
Jackson, last question. Do you think this is a must-win game for Georgia? Like, do they get in with a loss?
That could happen. I mean, nothing surprises me because this could be similar to 2021. That I'm not completely sure of.
I think it's going to be
But
interesting. I think it's going to be interesting how the committee talks about it next week. And I think you're going to see a lot of things about eye test when it comes to like those final rankings. Say Oregon beats Washington. If Washington wins and the undefeateds win, clear cut. But if Washington wins, Louisville wins, then you're going to start seeing eye test, I think, calculations a lot too, with the committee.
And that's the difference on this year's committee versus years past, in my opinion. In years past, if Bama beats Georgia, I would have said, we're fucked. They're throwing 2 SEC teams in. It's a given, done deal. But I think this year, what we've seen from this committee is the fact that they seem to be running that eye test more than just they beat this guy and they beat these guys and they didn't beat these guys. And exactly like Ben's saying, they seem to be more about the more relevancy and effectiveness of the games that the teams played from week to week. Where were they in week 3? Where were they in week 10? Where are they in week 13? There's a big difference between the way certain teams are playing and have played throughout the season. And I think this committee, for the first time in years, the one thing we've all asked for over the years is this kind of a committee. And the last year of it, we finally get a committee that is looking the proper way and not just going with the money or the media or whatever.
This is a great example, and Jackson could attest to this. So we look at Texas, who beat Texas Tech again, 56-7, whatever it was. Oregon beat them 38-30. Oregon went on the road. Texas played them home. Look at Alabama, who what was the score against South Florida, Jackson?
17-3.
South Florida,
Right?
so the point is you've seen Alabama get better and better and better and make adjustments and improve as the season's gone on. If you went off just that game, Alabama would be nowhere near the top 10. Because that was Jackson would say that was a horrendous game.
So just quick thought. Just assuming chalk holds here, like what we expect to happen does happen. We're looking at for sure Georgia, Michigan, Florida State. Then we get into the Oregon-Texas debate. And you say there's no way Texas jumps Oregon.
Well, I don't think so. Here's the thing. So if you have Georgia, all the top 4 just win. It's done. But if you have Oregon beat Washington, right? But if you including Washington. Now,
Washington's 4 now. They're probably going to be 3 on Tuesday due to Ohio State. You guys losing.
Now, if you have, of course, you're going to have Florida. You're going to have the Florida State in there mix. Obviously because undefeateds. So that's when it becomes tricky. But if like Oregon beats Washington, well, Oregon's going to beat a top 3 or 4 team. And Oregon's already ahead of Texas. Texas played number 20 or 19, 18, whatever, Oklahoma State at that point. So you kind of see how that's not going to allow Texas to jump. I mean, unless it's like a 1-point win for Oregon and Texas blows out Oklahoma State like 80-0, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But it would be amazing for, Texas get such a quality win. And this is what the nerds, college football nerds were talking about. Like, there's almost no benefit now. If you jump Texas over Oregon, you're basically saying you were foolish to ever schedule that game against Bama because look at what you did. You went on the road against a great team. You won by double digits. Meanwhile, Oregon's playing Portland State, and their tough game is going on the road to play Texas Tech.
Well, and then the committee's telling you, oh, this ranking we've had this whole time of Oregon ahead of Texas has meant nothing, and if they jump Texas over or so
either
both ways, it's like the flip flop.
Yeah.
It's a screw job no matter which way it goes to a degree. Tough game or
Man,
the rankings
all right,
world.
I'm coming on your watch party Tuesday. That's it, Mark. We're gonna have a debate.
No, you are busy with me on the Oregon show, even though it's later than his.
That's right.
Is Mark picking fights in his own
time? I could go argue with Mark for 2 hours.
I know, but I already have it ticking down here. I don't know why anyone had to do it. I already did it for Mark. It's like I don't do any work. It's like I don't do any work around here. I quit.
I've been wanting Mark all year. I think I'm gonna have to come on his watch party Tuesday.
All right, gentlemen. Jackson, did you give your final thoughts? Spaz, did you give your final thoughts?
Yeah,
I did.
Okay, good. So guess what? Everyone, nominate me, Exploding with Ben and Sam, for co-czar with Mark as the czar of the NCAA. Nominate us today. That is, we will take charge of this shit and we will correct everything that's wrong with it. And then join Mark on Tuesday for the watch party. Stuff like that. I'm tired. Are we done here?
Yeah, we're done.
Whenever you
Oh,
say,
thank God.
Captain.
I appreciate everyone for joining in. Please hit that like and subscribe. Check Mark on Tuesday for the watch party, as well as the top 25 that makes sense that he put out today earlier. And Mark's actually here to get to see it. So we get to have the big finale. Oh, one more moment of silence for the final Pac-12 games. All right, break. All right. Good night, everyone.